The following presentation of this Channel 22 Sports Game of the Week is brought to you in part by a generous donation from the Holiday Inn Express Hotel and Suites, South Bay. The Holiday Inn Express is partnering with Channel 22 Sports to help promote our young people in sports competition and academics so that everyone in our community wins. The Holiday Inn Express Hotel and Suites. Stay smart. The following presentation of this Channel 22 Sports Game of the Week is brought to you in part by a generous donation from the South Bay Workforce Investment Board. The South Bay Workforce Investment Board is working together with Channel 22 Sports to promote an environment where everyone can maximize their career potential and so that all employers have the human resources they need to grow and prosper. The South Bay Workforce Investment Board. When you need us, we're there for you. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Lawndale Hawthorne Community Cable Television, Channel 22's High School Game of the Week. It features two terrific teams, the undefeated Mira Costa Mustangs from Manhattan Beach in the Bay League, and it's the Hawthorne Cougars 1 and 2, and a terrific game they had against the Saxons against North Torrance in a big 24-23 nail-biting win. Along with Charity Bailey on the field and Rufus Washington in the booth, I'm happy to say that I'm Lou Stowers to have Rufus Washington back in. As you were watching your son play last week in Los Alamitos, I was a little jealous I didn't get to watch that game.
Well, thank you, Lou. It actually was a special occasion, as it is for all the parents. You know, as I've watched them over the years, the stands are usually full of family and friends who are out to support their players out on the field. But it's good to be back. And just as you said, it should be a great game tonight between a Hawthorne team that rebounded with a win. The last time we saw them was a tough outing against the losing Olympians. But Coach Hodling said that's behind them. They've got a win under their belt. And the key thing was, you know, that score was 44-12, the final. But he said his guys knew that they didn't play anywhere near their potential. So there was not a huge letdown psychologically. So they came into the North game pumped up and came out of it with a win. We'll try to see if they can keep that going tonight.
They sure did. Alex Gaines was big game Gaines in that game, just did good enough to get the Cougars into the end zone, help them get into the end zone on offense, but it was on defense and special teams where Alex Gaines, the senior, 5'8", 180 pounds, really shone, Rufus.
Well, this program, this team lives and dies with Alex Gaines and his performance. And as you say, haven't seen him last week. He played at quarterback. Talked to Coach H tonight before the game, and Coach H said he's going to give him another try at that. His regular quarterback not quite ready yet, but they were pleased with what Gaines did in terms of being under center. And, of course, he was still, as you were saying, an integral part of the offense.
That's right.
So goes Gaines, so goes the Cougars, to say the least.
And so goes the X-Man. Xavier Jackson will be wearing number 2 tonight in red for Hawthorne. He is back. You can see him down on the left side of the sideline there. And his knee is yet to be tested. And Coach H told us that he may get about 25 plays in at either running back or defensive back.
And make no doubt about it, this game is definitely a challenge for the Cougars. It's a great football game, Lou, because it is the visiting team is a very good team. And they're one of the local powers in this area. had a bit of a down year last year, but they've rebounded this year with 3 solid wins out of the box, one of which was against Esperanza, the number 1 ranked
Huge
team
win.
in Orange County. And they pulled out a win against those guys 23-21. So they're a good program. Don Morrow has been over there for a lot of years, and a lot of good players have come out of the Mira Costa program.
Well, we saw number 7, Damon Alose there, and he was an integral part, as we see Coach H on the sideline for the Hawthorne Cougars. And but Damon was huge on both sides of the ball in a good supporting role of Alex Gaines. And then the little guy with the big heart that really won the game, had the winning point, was Ricky Reyes, the place kicker, all of 5'1", 125 pounds, and that's with his pads on. And by the way, and soaking wet after the rain. You know what? It's going to be a hot and humid one tonight. It's kind of like the Midwest in the end of July. But Ricky Reyes tacked on that extra point that proved to be the winner.
Well, speaking of hot and humid, Lou, you should feel right at home. I know you're an old Illinois guy, and you're right. This has all the shades of being in the Midwest.
Let me tell you, it's
our luxurious air-conditioned booth, which the fans don't get the pleasure of enjoying, will serve us all too well tonight.
The air conditioning is provided by the hot air of Lou Stowers and Rufus Washington. Back to receive the kick are the Mustangs, wearing their gold helmets and the white road jerseys. And picking up the ball at the 4-yard line is number 8, and that is Will Bullock. And what a big hit by, I believe that was that Ricky Reyes?
That was Reyes, the kicker himself, Lou. I mean, the little man.
Good for him.
He may be small in stature, but Lou, he just showed me there that he's got a whole lot of heart. I mean, he stuck his nose right in there and brought him down, and the runner was on a dead run. Good tackle. As we watch the replay here, Lou, you'll see Reyes come in. Pursuit's coming to him. Reyes will come into your screen. There he is, right there. Man, nice tackle. That'll make your coach proud.
Now you'll see the spread offense of the Mustangs, led by senior Kevin Romero, 752 yards passing, and they run the ball right off. Wolfgram with it gets to the 40-yard line, and that kind of shakes things up as Mira Costa's coaching staff, led by Don Morrow, said that they were going to see exactly what Hawthorne was going to throw at them defensively. So a big 8-yard gain, 9-yard gain almost for Wolfgram.
And one of the things that we know that they're going to throw at him, and you know, Coach H is a pretty bright coach. Of course, if you do a little bit of scouting, you know that Wolfgram they're going to see a lot of tonight. And we'll develop that story in a moment, fans. Very interesting story.
Romero hands off to Wolfgram again, gets to the 40-yard line, but did he get the final push there to get the first down? We'll see where the spot is.
Looks like second effort may have gotten it, Lou. The initial pile actually was behind what would have been the first down, and somehow another Wolfgram's second effort carried him over the 40 out to a first down.
And a lot of us here in the Lawndale Hawthorne area are familiar with Charlie Wolfgram, and you have a story about him. It's a very unfortunate one.
Well, as you see Wolfgram with the carry there, you know, this week obviously has had a chance to deal with the loss of his father just a little bit more. Last week, though, when it was fresh in his mind because it had just occurred, the young man went out on the field, played the game nonetheless, and helped lead his team to a victory under very difficult emotional circumstances.
And our thoughts and prayers are with the Wolfgram family as well, that's for sure, from our family to his. And that looks like another first down into Cougar territory, as running the ball was Trevor Koppel, a wide receiver and a defensive back with 2 interceptions as they get into Cougar territory down to the 47-yard line. So now it'll be first down out of the shotgun, a quick throw on the quick out to Bruce Robinson, and he gets down to the 40-yard line. And the first pass of the day is completed from Romero to Robinson.
Robinson, a huge target, Lou, at 6'2", 190 pounds. He's a senior with a lot of experience in this program. Right now, the Cougar defense, as we see on the replay here, excellent tackle there. Not until after the first down had been earned, though.
All right, so it's going to be second down and about 3 yards to go from, we'll call it the 41-yard line. So second down and 4, actually. It's two wide receivers to either side. One man comes in motion to back up the spread, and the handoff goes to Wolfgram. He has the first down at the 35, cutting across to the 30, down to the 25, and almost down to the 20-yard line before he's finally caught up with from behind by Jesus Ramirez and company.
Wolfgram, one of the premier backs in the South Bay. Lou, once again, we'll see him here on the run. Now he heads outside, sees the pursuit, makes a nice inside move right there, as you saw, and took it back to the outside, which allowed him to pick up even more yards before he was brought down.
So it's a 19-yard gain for Wolfgram, and he's really racking up the yards. And this no-huddle offense, nobody in the backfield. There comes the blitz, there comes the throw, and the catch at the goal line, and touchdown for the Mustangs, caught by Will Bullock.
That drive, Lou, only took about 2.5 minutes, and quite frankly, the Cougars are going to have to regroup defensively because that was all too easy. As you see Romero with the pass to Bullock down the left sideline.
Thermosgard with the kick after touchdown as snap is down, the kick is up, it's a low one. Did it make it through? No, he hooked it to the left, so the PAT is no good, and it's 6-0 in favor of Mira Costa, and they made that one look easy, Rufus.
They made it look easy. The only bad thing that happened for them on that one was the missed point after. Of course, for the Cougars, they'll take that bit of a break, although they've got to say to themselves right now, they've got to regroup defensively.
So at 9:35, a 7-play drive. It was Romero to Bullock, 22 yards, and they started off at 11:54, so about not quite 3 minutes, about 2.5 minutes.
Of course, one thing about it, when the other team scores, that gives us a chance to see Alex Gaines and the rest of the return crew. Back there with them is also Taj Johnson, another good return man.
And, boy, what a water bug he is. Also back there is Lil Ray Lewis, Lynn Featherstone. At the 20-yard line. So we're waiting for young Mr. Thermosgard. Actually, that's number 88. That's Ian Wandler. And he kicks it into the end zone. And Big Game Gaines says, I'm not going to touch that one.
Well, that's one way to minimize his impact is when you kick it out of the end zone, doesn't give him a chance to return it. Because every time he puts his hands on the ball, he's a Reggie Bush type player. If you're a defense, you always hold your breath because you know he has the potential to score.
And told Alex before the game, I said, I'm sorry for calling you Reggie a couple of times last week as the beautiful sunset over the South Bay. As you can see that on Channel 22 Sports. I said, you reminded me of Reggie Bush. So he just kind of gave me a little laugh, and there he is under center. 3 receivers in the set, and he rolls out, throws on the run. The pass is complete to about the 24-yard line, 23-yard line. Taj Johnson is the man receiving the ball, and it'll be about a 5-yard gain. So 2nd down and 5, a good first down gain for the Cougars.
Good first down game, Lou, and the key here, obviously, if you're a Cougar fan, is the fact that Gaines is under center again tonight. He will play probably the whole contest. I talked to Coach H before the game, and they say they're content with that. Also, Jackson didn't get enough reps in practice today in order for him to take over.
It's better to be safe than sorry, especially when you have Alex Gaines at the helm as he rolls out. Now throws on the run, and it's almost picked off by Tim Mobley. Had a man open for a moment, Danail Watson. But, boy, Alex Gaines and his inexperience at quarterback almost cost him.
Well, Mobley was sitting there right on that pass. I mean, he was stride for stride with the receiver, and in fact, when the receiver turned up and stopped, he was there. So perhaps a pass he shouldn't have thrown, but he got away with it, and so they'll take that.
Taj Johnson comes in with the play, and coming out is Brandon Burnham. And splitting out wide to the near side is Chris Jordan. And Alex Gaines will be under the center. Pitches the ball. And the ball goes to Xavier Jackson, as that's his first play. On 3rd down and 5, gets close to the first down marker, about the 29-yard line. So Xavier Jackson was the X factor on that play.
Close but no cigar, Lou. I think they got to kick this away. It's going to be 4th and about a foot, maybe a little more. And you see Reyes coming out on the field, number 11. As you watch the replay of Jackson being brought down a foot short of the 30-yard line. That was what they needed to make. They didn't get it, so we'll see if Reyes can put Mira Costa back a little bit.
So it'll be 3 and out for the Cougars. Reyes will kick the ball away. High, didn't get enough of it, as it takes a Mira Costa bounce. Now it takes a Cougar bounce, and it'll settle in at about the 50-yard line.
Right at about the 50, Reyes kicked that from about his own 20, so a 30-yard kick. Not a good effort. Boy, and the problem with that is that Mira Costa is working with half a field. It's tough enough defending these guys, Lou, from 80 yards away.
With all the weapons that they have.
And now you cut it down to a 50-yard field. You're asking for trouble.
And one of the Mustang coaches said that they have 7 different wide receivers that they can throw to. And what a weapon this 3-0 team has. Beating Esperanza last week, Narbonne. As now Romero pitches the ball off to Wolfgram, and Wolfgram on the shovel pass gets about 2 yards. So it'll be 2nd down and 8, we'll call it.
Down at the bottom of that pile for the Cougars, Lou, was number 3, Brandon Berman, and number 24, Bobby Lee. And that was a short gain of 3. The good thing I saw on that play was that the Cougar defense had keyed on Wolfgram. He's one that got a key on. This team can also throw the ball, though, so you got to stay balanced on defense out of the shotgun.
Romero had his pass tipped, I believe. That was either by Mobley, Craig Mobley up front, or number 55, Oscar Aravalo. So good pressure by the Cougar defensive line.
As you watch the replay there, the quarterback drops back to pass, and you're right, it does look like it was tipped right in position. If it hadn't been tipped to perhaps intercept, it was Alex Gaines.
So it'll be 3rd down and 8 yards to go, we'll call it. 7:01 left to go, 6-0 Mustangs. Everybody's going to go out except for Romero. Look out, here comes the blitz downfield, and it is caught. No, in and out of the hands. Almost picked off on the rebound by Danielle Watson, but good coverage on the play. The ball and the defender got there at the same time as Will Bullock tried to go for that ball.
Well, he tried to go for it. Again, the Cougars catch a break as we watch the replay. Lou, not a lot of pressure on the quarterback, drops back, lays out a nice pass, throws it into what would have appeared to have been double coverage, although they had 2 receivers in that area, forced a punt.
As the punt is made by Ian Wandler, gets to the 15, and it'll roll for the Mustangs right around the 5-yard line, inside the 5 to the 4-yard line. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Cougars, pinned way back in their own territory.
And the problem with that, Lou, thus far for the Cougars is that particularly on kickoffs, in this game thus far, be it a kickoff or a punt, Alex Gaines has not had a chance to touch the ball. And, of course, you know, he does great things when he does get a chance. Last week he scored on a 90-yard kickoff return as well as having a 41-yard interception return.
And Alex Gaines in the huddle right there breaks the huddle. And there go the Cougars, and there's a lot of them. So what a big win for the Cougars as they come out no huddle. They did the huddle on the sideline. Alex Gaines barking out the signals. Has one man behind him, and now we have some sort of a penalty as flags go everywhere on the near sideline.
Lou, I only got one question to ask as we watch this game and try to get a fix for tonight's contest between the Cougars and Mira Costa and so forth, as it shapes up as a good game. And that was, I gave you the duty of making a sandwich run, and I don't see a sandwich.
Oh, I thought you were going to get your own. Well, we'll get you one at halftime.
Fans as always.
Oh,
Hawthorne,
no.
Lawndale,
I just got the
Community
eye.
Cable,
I
Channel
just got the
22.
evil eye from Rufus Washington. You know, that's the first one of my career.
Cougars picked up 5 on that play. We'll have some fun with him, and they've got to get out of this hole, Lou.
There goes Taz Johnson coming back the other way against the grain, and a good move by little Taz as he comes up to about the 15-yard line. Is it close enough to a first down?
It's going to be awfully close if it isn't.
Could be a measurement. Let's see what on the replay what happened.
Well, Johnson does a good job. You see him turn up, and that's what I like in a running back. Bounces off of where the pursuit was, finds another lane to run in, and got very close to the first down. Looks like it's about a half yard short, so it'll be second and short for the Cougars.
At the 14-yard line, so 4 yards for Johnson, and it'll be second and 1. The tackle was made by Alex Probasco, and bullying forward for the first down, past the 15-yard line to about the 17, is Damon Olose.
Carried by number 7, Damon D-Mac Olose, brought down by number 35.
And Damon has had a huge game, a 6'2", 225-pounder, and I like the way that this young man plays.
Well, he certainly is a good back to spot gains and to give him an additional threat.
First and 10 for the Cougars.
So 4 yards for Damon, and probably some illegal motion as the Cougars going to march backwards about 5 yards. So
looks like one of the Cougars on the O-line didn't know the snap count, jumped a little bit too early. That was one of those penalties that, one of those type of things that Coach H talked about with me in the pregame. There are a couple of keys he said that are important in this game if they're to win. One is that they've got to play a perfect ball game, which is hard to do, but he respects how good this Mira Costa team is, so he knows what the challenge is. Second was they've got to be disciplined and stay within it. What you just saw was both a breakdown in discipline and an imperfection.
Gaines out of the eye, pitches the ball off. Look out. Xavier Jackson missed it. Actually, it was actually a pretty poor pitch by Gaines, and was it covered by? Yep, it was covered by the Mustangs.
I'm sorry, Lou, for stepping on you. Yes, it was recovered by the Mustangs, though. And again, that's one of the things. If fans could see my notes as we watch the replay here, that pitch was intended for Xavier Jackson. Jackson didn't get a handle on it. Recovered by the Mustangs, deep in Cougar territory.
So it'll be first and goal from the 9-yard line, with 5:02 left to go. As the ball is run by Wolfgram. Wolfgram dives forward to about the 5-yard line, so we'll call it a 4-yard gain.
And it's usually in these situations, Lou, where you're going to get yourself a full helping of Wolfgram. When you've got first and goal inside the 10-yard line, down at the 5, which is where they are now.
Romero out of the shotgun, rolls to the right side, throws it on the run, caught from behind and into the end zone. Touchdown Mustangs, and that looks like it's Bruce Robinson for the touchdown Mustangs.
Well, again, that was a score. When you put your notes together, you need to note that score was set up off of a turnover. And, of course, that's one of the things in all of sports, particularly in football, that will oftentimes come back to bite you, and that's turnovers leading to points.
So Robinson catches the touchdown, and that's the second TD pass for Romero. And the Mustangs strike quick on this one, go 9 yards in 3 plays. In 32 seconds. And the 2-point conversion is good.
No, it's
not. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Looks like it's no good, and again, Cougars getting a small victory. They give up the touch, all right, but they save the 2-point conversion attempt.
So that makes it 12-0 with 4 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in the first half. So this has been a pretty quick first quarter. Or check that first quarter, not the first half. So you got me all flustered with that sandwich thing.
Well, you flustered yourself. You said you were going to get the sandwiches.
You're right. You know what? You're right. I did. My bad.
But
Maybe
right.
we can deliver.
Well, what the Cougar fans are hoping for is that Gaines or Taj Johnson can deliver a big run back here and get them in pretty good field position so that their offense can get on track. Because right now, trailing 12 to nothing, they find themselves in a big enough hole as it is, not wanting it to get any worse.
It was a 90-yard touchdown return last week early on by Alex Gaines, and the ball goes to Gaines at the goal line. Here comes Gaines to the 10. Actually, that's Taz Johnson. Taz Johnson, the 20, 30. Here he comes.
He
has one man to beat at the 50, at the 45-yard line. And a 55-yard return by Taz Johnson. And that gets the Cougars in business.
And that's exactly what we were talking about, Lou. The big play, the big return. As we watch the replay here, boy, Johnson takes it at the goal line. This is going to end up being a nice 55-yard return for Johnson. Good blocking out front. And that's what good teammates do. Look at the big block put there by Alex Gaines. Gives Johnson a lane to run in, and now it's a foot race. Only one guy has the angle on him, and that guy pushes him out of bounds.
So Alex Gaines from the near sideline right below us, getting ready to go at the 45-yard line with 4:20 left to go in the first quarter. As Gaines gets the first down, he's still on his horse down to the 25-yard line, and we have a flag over on the other side, and that's usually unsportsmanlike conduct.
Usually it will be, and if it is, that means they're going to tack on another 15 from where this run ended at the 35, and that would take it down to the 20, and that would put the Cougars in great field position.
So it was a 20-yard gain for Alex Gaines, and then they're going to tack on the extra yardage on the penalty. So a big penalty, and that brings the ball all the way down to the 12-yard line. So it'll be 1st and 10 from there, and a big assist from the Mustangs should the Cougars score on this one. Gaines hands the ball off, goes to Brandon Burnham, and he got a forward push and then got rocked back. So let's see, about a 1-yard gain they're going to give Brandon.
And while we've got a pause in the action, Lou, one of the real keys was on that last play, which started at the 45. They ran an option. Gaines made the wise decision to keep it himself rather than go with the pitch. And, boy, he turned it into a big gain. I think that's probably what you're going to see a lot more of tonight. Rather than him pitching the ball, he's a lot more dangerous, fans, when he's got the ball in his hands.
Absolutely. Let him have the ball until they can stop him. Alose and Johnson are behind Gaines. Gaines on the option, keeps it coming around the left side. Tries to get around one man, getting almost back to the line of scrimmage, and then gets rocked back by a host of Mustangs. Ian Burke comes up off the bottom of the pile for Mira Costa. So we're going to call it no gain.
Here you see Gaines carrying a little bit loose for a running back. He's got a lot more experience than that. Now he finally tucks it away. And it's right there when he's pretty much stopped. Mira Costa stripped the ball, but the official, and I might add wisely so, determined that his forward progress had been stopped. So in spite of the strip, the Cougars retain possession.
Now we're going to call it a loss of a yard on that one, Rufus. So it's 3rd down and 10 from the 12-yard line. Backs are split behind Gaines. Rolls out, throws, and it is caught. A beautiful catch on the play by number 15, Glenn Bernard. Touchdown, Cougars.
And you're right. That was an excellent catch by Bernard. As we watch the replay here, and wow, I wish sometimes, Lou, I had said what's on my mind, because I just said I think now they need a pass in order to keep him off balance. Bernard goes up with the one hand, juggles it, brings it down. The referee indicates that it's a touchdown.
There you go. Well, you're just showing off your superior football knowledge, that's all.
Well, you know, the one thing that this team will have to do, as with any team,
And Ricky Reyes tacks on the extra point, Mr. Automatic. So that makes the score 12-7. So the Cougars are trailing now, and they're just a touchdown and an extra point away, actually a touchdown away from taking the lead in this game. So at 2:18, 2 minutes and 2 seconds on the drive, 4 plays. And that was set up by the 55-yard return by Taz Johnson, and then the big 23-yard run by Alex Gaines.
23-yard run, a part of which was a 15-yard personal foul. So, a good drive, and boy, a quick one for the Cougars as they score in under 2 minutes themselves on that particular drive.
Wow, we're going to see, should we take this first quarter with 2:18 left in the first quarter as what's going to happen the rest of the game?
Well, I think it has potential. Right now, if you're a Cougar fan, not to mention being a Cougar player, boy, your spirits are really lifted. They got 2 big emotional breaks on those 2 Mira Costa drives when Mira Costa did convert the extra point.
Reyes with the kick, and it goes to the 5-yard line as here comes Will Bullock. Bullock gets to the 30-yard line and bowls his way to the 36-yard line as we had a flag thrown towards the wedge, and that usually means a hold. So Bullock gets a 26-yard return, 21-yard return, excuse me.
And that is the indication, Lou. You're so right that it was a holding call against Mira Costa, so a good break for the losing. I knew that was going to happen. I was trying hard not to.
See, that sandwich thing came back to haunt you.
And there you saw the hole right there in the wedge occurred right at the 30-yard line. That'll back them up 10 from there. So it'll be 1st and 10 when Mira Costa does come out from the 20.
All right, so we'll call it from the 31-yard line. 15 yards on the hold. With 2 minutes and 11 seconds left to go. And we're just in the first quarter, and it's 12-7. Cougars trailing. Mustangs with the ball. The ball is handed off, and I believe that's Wolfgram.
It was Wolfgram with the carry. Nate Amos attempting an arm tackle, and I can tell you, Nate, that's not going to be enough to bring down Wolfgram.
I need to correct myself. What you looking for?
There was a little card.
Oh, the card with the officials? I put it over there.
Yeah, it was there. I saw it. Well,
did you eat that instead of the sandwich?
I may have.
I got some mustard up here.
And I said Nate Amos. Let me apologize to Nate. That was Damon Oliseh who attempted the arm tackle.
As good defense by the Cougars there. A loss on the play of a couple of yards.
Well, we talk about defenses having to stiffen. I think we've got to give the Cougars a lot of credit here as they have definitely stiffened here in the first quarter with 1:10 left in the quarter. What had the makings, what started out looking like a runaway, Lou, has now turned into a pretty good football game.
So it'll be 3rd down and 1. Big 3rd down play for the Cougar defense early on in this game. Under a minute left to go. The clock is rolling. And this is the first time I remember the Mustangs going into a huddle in this game, and their spread offense out of the eye now. Man in motion from the near side to the far side for Romero. Romero hands off, going over left tackle is Wolfgram, and a good defensive push, but there's a penalty flag also as the Cougar defense holds on 3rd down, Rufus, but what's that flag?
Well, that's going to be big, Lou. This flag is going to either keep the drive alive or end it. And so now everybody's waiting to see because the Cougar defensive line made an excellent stop.
Face mask. Ouch. Wow. So that's a big BB in the foot of the Cougars. And I did see a head snap there on Wolfgram. So that's unfortunate for the Cougars because they did have the Mustangs stopped. And now it's a 1st down all the way up to the 43-yard line.
We'll make a note of that face mask penalty again. One of those little breakdowns and see what effect that has.
So out of the shotgun, naked in the backfield is Kevin Romero. Two-step drop, throws it on the run. Tip drill. Was it caught? No. Just in and out of the hands of Danielle Watson, as that throw was too high for the intended receiver, Madison Dubroff.
Well, again, this Cougar defense showing well. That last penalty hurt them a little bit, but I think that they showed on first down their ability to recover from it. Of course, it gave good field position to Mira Costa as it brought him out to the 43-yard line.
Okay, so it'll be 2nd down and 10 from the 42-yard line. Romero gets some good protection, throws it down the sideline, and is caught by number 5, Robinson, who gets all the way down to the 20-yard line. Finally brought down by Glenn Bernard, but boy, just a little skinny post pattern, and that's how lightning in a bottle can strike for the Mustangs.
And that's down to the 10, Lou. That was a 47-yard pass. Huge 47-yard pass. Cougars obviously playing Wolf Graham. Spoke about it earlier. You got to stay balanced, though, because, again, that's what this team can do. They can run the ball. They can throw the ball out of the spread offense. And so the Cougar defense really has a challenge on its hands now to try to prevent them from scoring.
Now going for the corner of the end zone is Romero. It is caught for the touchdown. So just like that, a touchdown to Will Bullock. That's the second time those two have hooked up. It's 18-7 with barely 0.7 of a second left in the first quarter.
And that's making it all too easy. Again, 2 huge passes on that drive, Lou, set up the score. And as you say, the touchdown pass to Bullock.
So that's the 3rd touchdown of the day for Romero. Second one caught by Bullock. And they're going to go for the 2-point conversion again. Romero rolls out to his right, is stopped. Everyone's covered. And the Cougars finally put the lid on Kevin Romero. So the 2-point conversion is no good. And the score remains 18-7 Mustangs. But Kevin Romero is putting a show over the air, that's for sure, Rufus. And the big play of that drive was the face mask penalty on 3rd down.
It definitely was. We made a note of it, and that was what it was. It was 3rd. They stopped Wolf Graham. In fact, dropped him for a loss on the play. Flag came in, face mask against the Cougars. Mira Costa being the good team that they are, they convert that mistake into a score.
Wow, I tell you, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 scores just in the first quarter alone. It's 18-7. But the Mira Costa inability to convert the PAT could come back to haunt them. So we'll add up those points as well. So a 10-yard pass for a touchdown from Romero to Bullock. That's 2 touchdowns. And the line drive kick, and that goes to Alex Gaines. Alex Gaines picks it up about the 5-yard line, gets it up to about the 30, steps out of bounds, or else he was going to go back the other way against the grain as time runs out in the first quarter, as the score after 1 quarter is 18-7 Mustangs over the Cougars.
And of course, this is on your Hawthorne Lawndale, Channel 22 Community Cable Network.
And I want to thank everybody that's sponsoring us for tonight's broadcast. Holiday Inn Express Inn and Suites will be announcing the Holiday Inn Express Inn and Suites player of the game afterwards. And who else is on our roster of sponsors?
Well, another sponsor is the South Bay. Skips my mind right now, but I'm going to get it. Workforce, the WIB. See, I knew the acronym. I was trying to pull out the whole thing.
That's amazing how you remembered that.
Workforce Investment Board.
You're amazing. How did you remember that?
A good public agency. Well, I better get to know them pretty well. Their business is finding jobs for people. And if I keep screwing up like this, I'm going to be out of a job.
Well, they're going to be finding one for you.
Exactly.
Right? 2 wide receivers to the left of Alex Gaines. And now We're trying to get things underway here in the second quarter with the Cougars trying to get back on the scoreboard, trailing 18-7. Gaines with a straight handoff to Alose, and he is hammered.
In fact, lucky if he got back to the line of scrimmage. And again, this is one of those type of situations, Luke, where you hate to find yourself in this position, but you almost have got to answer score for score. And the Cougars just gave up a score, and they were primed to turn this game around. I think that's what you got to remember. They were primed to turn this game around if they had held on that third down, which they did, but the penalty wiped out the defensive effort. Mira Costa scored, and now the Cougars got the ball back, and they've got to do something with it.
That was Brandon Burnham on the carry. Got back to the line of scrimmage, maybe lost a couple of inches. And out of the shotgun is Alex Gaines. Coach H told me before the game, I asked him, what do you got to do to win? He says, play a perfect game. So far, that big face mask penalty, and now maybe this penalty, a delay of game against the Cougars. And there's another BB in the foot.
Yeah. Those are the kind of mistakes you just can't make. It was already going to be 2nd and 10. That's going to make it now 2nd and 15.
So Alex Gaines and the Cougars have their work cut out for them now as momentum is on the side of the Golden Domed Mustangs. Actually, their colors are very similar to another Mustang here in California, the Cal Poly San Luis Obispo Mustangs. Alex Gaines gets a low snap. And now wants to nope, he's still going to hang on to it, throws it, man wide open, caught at the 47-yard line, and out of bounds is Nate Amos. Good first down play by the Cougars, and they'll mark it at the 49-yard line.
What made that play work, Lou? I'll tell you what made it work since you asked me. If you watch on the replay,
what made that play?
You see where Gaines is in the pocket. Now watch his roll. He's going to roll out to what's his right. It's our left because we're watching on television. Buys enough time for his receiver to come loose. There you see Amos wide open and finally pushed out of bounds up near the midfield stripe. First down for the Cougars.
So nice completion. Gains to Amos for 24 yards and right on the 50-yard line. So we'll call it a 25-yard gain at the 50. Gaines fakes the handoff and now shovels one, a dangerous pitch, or a lateral almost, and that falls incomplete. In the neighborhood was Featherstone and Burnham, or Bernard, and what was behind that play?
Well, what was behind the play was busted from the start, Lou. A part of what the fans couldn't see, as Nate Amos, number 5, approached the line, he never quite understood the play. And now you see Amos on the sideline, and that's what happened with Gaines. Amos was out of position. When Gaines went to roll, he's expecting Amos to be in one place. He looks up, and Amos is standing right beside him. So now he just tries to make something out of nothing, although what Gaines will learn is never throw the ball on the busted play.
2nd down and 10. Gaines has to get out of trouble as the pocket collapses. He throws on the run, and there's nobody home as the pass was intended for Glenn Bernard. And I wonder if Alex Gaines was trying to make something out of nothing or to just throw it out of harm's way.
Well, I thought he had a shot at running it up, turning up inside when the defensive pursuit actually slipped on the play. Of course, he's down there on the field. We're up here. He had a better feel for what was going on. He decided to pass it. Pass fell incomplete.
Well, to Alex Gaines' defense, he was going to his left and threw it across the wrong way to the right and didn't have his timing down on the pass to Bernard. So now it's a huge 3rd down and 10 play at the 50-yard line for the Cougars. Man in motion is Xavier Jackson. And Gaines has the ball. Goes back the other way to Featherstone. The ball was thrown short and incomplete. It'll be 4th and 10 as another play just didn't get going.
Be 4th and 10, and once again we've seen the trickery not really work for the Cougars thus far. That's 2 trick plays they've tried, both of which have blown up in their face. Both of which actually in that play as it unfolded, as we see on the replay here,
the pass was intended for Featherstone as Gaines just didn't get the ball to him.
So now they need Ricky Reyes to get off a good kick. Reyes kicking from about his 35, actually puts toe into it at the 40.
And it's a fair catch called at the 24-yard line by Trevor Koppel.
Not a bad job by Reyes. Had good hang time on it. Allowed the special teams pursuit to get there and force the fair catch.
Well, the Cougars had something going on the good pass play to Nate Amos, but then after that just kind of misfired on 3 straight plays. We'll go down to Charity Bailey after this play as Romero throws it downfield. It is, almost intercepted down on the far sideline by Nate Amos. Let's go down to Charity Bailey. Okay. Hi, Charity. Did you see her wave at you? Okay. So there's a flag on the play as that pass is incomplete. And Nate Amos, if he would have caught that, unsportsmanlike conduct on the Cougars, and I wonder if it was because of Nate Amos with his frustration there.
Well, it was either excessive celebration. Of course, we have no way of hearing it here, but let's watch the replay. I don't think Amos actually did anything to one of the opposing players. But what's going to happen is that, see, that in and of itself won't draw the flag. We can only assume, and I don't want to malign Nate Amos, but we can only assume it was a language issue. When we say language, the use of profanity is strictly forbidden in high school athletics, and so in its demonstrative expression, he may have
slipped.
That's a good word.
Pass is complete to Wolf Graham. Dances his way to the 50-yard line. A big 10-yard, 11-yard play from Romero to Wolf Graham. And Charity Bailey is ready.
Feel it up there, but the tensions are high down here on the field with the score 18-7. Earlier this week when I spoke with Coach Hawthorne, he said that this game is a rivalry of sorts. He says it's not as intense as Lusinger, but because all the kids went to school together and Hawthorne beat Mira Costa last year at home, he says that Hawthorne is going to be looking to do that again, and Mira Costa is going to be looking to get revenge. He says nobody has beat them at home like that in a few years. Last year, Hawthorne beat them 20-14. So he says be looking for an intense game, and as you see, that's what we got. Back up to you.
Thanks, Charity. 20-14 was that score, Rufus, and I would imagine the emotions are running high.
They're running high, and again, what we see, though, which is big, Hilla, was that the 15-yard penalty, personal foul against Amos, boy, they turn around, next play, they're at midfield.
That's right, right where the Cougars kicked the ball away from, and that's the second big penalty in not too much of a time span against the Cougars, and that's what the Cougars just cannot do against an undefeated team.
You can't do that. You can never give a team better field position by way of the penalty. You got to make them earn everything they get. And when you have big personal foul penalties, they give them automatic first downs, or even when you're in third and shorts, and we saw this a couple of weeks ago, consistently team in third and short, and there were a lot of offside penalties that created first down opportunities. Those are the kind of things that will hurt you. And so far, the Cougars have already been bitten once tonight by virtue of a penalty, and it looks like another one right now is about to put them in a hole.
Xavier Jackson is at the strong safety position. Actually, he's almost lining up as a linebacker against this spread offense. 4 receivers in the setup for the Mustangs. Romero throwing down the middle, has a man, and is it caught? It is caught all the way down to the 20-yard line, a 30-yard gain for the Mustangs. A huge play for Danny Romero and Ian Wandler.
Excellent pass to Wanley. You got to give Romero a lot of credit, Lou. I mean, this kid has a good-looking arm. He's making good decisions on his passes. I mean, he's throwing in the coverage. I mean, these aren't guys that are sitting there wide open that Ray Charles or somebody like that could pass to. I mean, this guy is throwing into coverage and hitting his receivers.
Nate Amos is right there. I don't know how it was caught, but there's a man wide open into the end zone, and that is Will Bullock for his 3rd touchdown catch of the day. Touchdown Mustangs is 24-7.
Looks like on the mark that was a 20-yard touchdown pass, if I'm looking at the side markers correctly. And just like that, boy, they're really spreading out this Cougar defense, and they've got the receivers to make them pay for it.
So a 5-yard drive, or 5-play drive, excuse me. And we're going to go for the extra point the old-fashioned way, and it's tacked on, and now it's 25-7. First PAT was that's been converted, and that's the first time that the Mustangs have not tried the 2-point variety. Actually, no, this is the second time they've tried the PAT with the kicker. The first one was wide to the left. But at 9:27, just barely over a minute on that touchdown drive. About a minute and 11 seconds, Rufus. So
minute 11 seconds, and again, we're going to highlight the fact that that score set up off of a penalty. Make a note there. And the previous score set up off of a penalty.
So a face mask and an unsportsmanlike. So we're waiting for the kick from Ian Wandler, whose big 30-yard catch set up the touchdown as well. That was the big play of the drive. Wolfgram had a big 11-yard run as well after the penalty. And the kick takes a bounce, and it'll be picked up by Johnson. Johnson at about the 12-yard line, now skittering away, waterbugging his way to the 20-yard line. And it'll be 1st and 10 from the Cougars at, well, they'll mark it just inside the 19, in between the 19 and the 20-yard line.
Johnson with a lot of movement there, a lot of east to west movement, need to get going north to south. Looked like they were going to run a trick play there for a second as I saw Alex Gaines approach it. But Johnson with the shifty feet, I mean, he's looking for the hole. This isn't wasted motion at all, fans. He's got his eyes focused straight ahead, trying to find the hole. Of course, he was on the short side of the field, and that means the hole closes up real fast when you're on the short side.
Now, Ryan Oliver finally caught the water bug at the 19-yard line, and Alex Gaines trying to get the ball after the snap fell down and just barely gets back to the line of scrimmage. And what's that, about the third busted play we've seen in a row? Maybe a yard gain by Gaines.
You know, when they got that last score, Lou, at the end of the first quarter, on the 10-yard pass to Bullock that made it 18-7, I had said then that, boy, this was a must-score situation. Well, if that was a must-score, I'm not sure how you define this, as you see Alex Gaines there making something out of nothing. Of course, Alex, an all-Ocean League running back last year. Terrific player for the Cougars.
Running backs in the eye and behind Gaines, 2 receivers to either side. Rolls out to the left. Look out, being chased down. And this ball is thrown incomplete as the pass was intended for Chris Jordan. And running up was Matt Duffy trying to make a pancake out of Alex Gaines.
Certainly tried to. Gaines got rid of it just in time.
So it'll be 3rd down and 8 yards to go. And now it just seems that the Cougars are just befuddled on offense against this big defense of the Mustangs. They are just looking at them from near side to far side, Rufus. There are some big young men along that line.
They have a huge line. Of course, you can make that work against them. One of the things you can do, Lewis, is throw some screen passes. I actually would give them the opportunity of working out of the shotgun and let them come with it and see if I could dump something over the middle, or if they show blitz, come with one of my running backs.
Well, Alex did get 23 yards on a run on the option play. Here it comes again, and well covered by the Mustangs. And as the ball comes loose, and is it picked up by the Mustangs? Yes, it is.
They say it is. Well, it sure looks like Gaines was down. All it takes is a knee. I don't know if we've got that on the replay when it came loose. Let's look. We do have the replay. Great work by our guys in the truck, led by Tom Strickfaden. Gaines on the roll out here. He tucks it underneath. We know that he went down. There's a knee. He's down. There you saw it right there. Great camera work. Should not have been a turnover. Clearly his knee hit.
So that's the second turnover Second turnover by the Cougars with 8:18 left to go. And again, in terrific field position from the 22-yard line is Mira Costa in Cougar territory, going for it all on first down, and it is almost picked off on the fade pattern as Dontrell Watson, actually no, that's Nate Amos, almost his second, going for his second almost. Look at that ball come right down, and Nate almost got that one.
Amos that time in excellent coverage position. That's the best coverage position that the Cougar defensive backs have been in tonight, because they've been lit up like a Christmas tree so far.
And that came in front of big Bruce Robinson. As you see Alex Gaines talking to one of the coaches. And Romero, second down and 10 from the 22, 8:11 left to go, rolls out to the right. Here comes a blitzer, but the throw is complete, first down along the far sideline, inside the 10-yard line to about the 8. And that pass was completed to Alex Probasco.
Well, Lou, again, sounds like a broken record, but unfortunately the Cougar defense, and right now this is even though we're still in the first half, and boy, got 8 minutes to go in the half. A lot of life is being sucked out of this squad right now as they trail by a margin of 25-7, with Mira Costa knocking on the door again.
3 wide receivers, or actually 3 running backs, I should say, kind of a bull elephant backfield as the pass is complete into the end zone. Another touchdown for Kevin Romero and the Mustangs.
Well, again, that's a riddle that they've got to solve, and they haven't solved it yet. That was Wandler with the touchdown reception, and it's all just too easy. That, of course, set up by the Gaines fumble at the 8:11 mark, and of course they score at the 7:44 mark. So they make you pay dearly, and they make you pay quickly. As we watch the replay here, again, no defender in sight. All right.
That's right. After that was as the PAT is good, and that makes it 31-7 Cougars at 7:44, and that one took little time as well, about 30 seconds for that one. It was a 4-play drive. Let's take a timeout on Channel 22 Sports. Ian Wandler, the young man who caught the touchdown pass, kicks the kickoff to Taz Johnson. Johnson goes up to about the 20-yard line, and about a 15-yard return for Johnson and the Cougars. 7:37 left to go in the first half, and the Cougars have a huge hill to climb. Rufus, down 32-7.
They've got a huge hill, and right now one of their strong suits, which they've had a lot of opportunities to utilize tonight, has only been able to work for them once. That was a 55-yard kickoff return by Taz Johnson. They've had 5 kickoffs to handle, and so far they're only getting to the 20-yard line.
So Mira Costa just doing it on defense, offense, and on the special teams as Gaines rolls out on the option play, and there he goes. He wasn't going to give that one up as the Mustang defense trying to go for the ball, getting Gaines down after about a 3-yard gain. So it'll be second down and 7.
I know that Jackson was just back this week, and of course, and as coaches like to say, and players understand, you got to get a certain amount of practice in order to be able to resume play on a competitive level. But if the kid's out on the field, I'm not so sure that maybe we ought to take a look at him under center and let him hand off to Gaines and let Gaines operate from his natural position for a little while to see if he can get untracked.
Well, we might see that in the second half as 3 receivers are in the pattern, but the ball is handed off from Gaines to Johnson. Johnson runs into Duffy, and there was nowhere else to go as Johnson just saw that big old number 54 coming at him.
Now, let me say one thing also about Coach H's philosophy on this. He has a philosophy, say the first 5 sets up the second 5. And what that means, fans, is that these first 5 games, of which this is the 4th one, they're all non-league games. A lot of fans don't understand. They think the overall record, just like in college football and the bowl system, determines whether or not you get into the postseason. You need to go 8-3, 9-2, 10-1, all that stuff. You actually can go 0-5 in league. I mean, in non-league play, and 5-0 in league, and you're going to the playoffs.
Well, we'll see what happens here. Is now should be another penalty against the Cougars, delay of game. And that's the second delay of game penalty on the Cougars, who played so well on the offense last week.
So these early season losses and challenges like this, they hurt when you look at the overall record, but again, Cougars still got a lot of football season left in front of them, and I want the fans out there to stay pumped up and to keep coming here to Hal Cap Field supporting this team.
So it'll be 3rd down and 14 yards to go, as we have an offside penalty coming up, and that's a free play. But the defense just comes and comes and comes for the Mustangs. Duffy was in there, also in there Peter Kerbosh for the Mustangs as well. And let's see what the penalties are.
Well, again, I hate to get on the officiating crew.
Illegal motion, no good.
Which was led by...
Oh, the fumble was by the Cougars again. Let's watch the replay, Rufus, as they're giving the ball back to the Mustangs inside the 10-yard line.
Well, we're looking here to see if from this coverage, and of course from that particular angle, we couldn't see the fumble, but this officiating crew headed by the referee David Batennock, the umpires Mike Norris, the head linesman Ronald Harris, back judge Christopher Castro, and Gregory Lawson is the line judge. And somewhere amongst those 5 gentlemen, they saw a fumble and awarded the ball.
And a jump ball in the end zone. Touchdown Mustangs once again. Romero throws it again to one of his tall receivers, Madison Dubroff.
Wow, so they're getting everybody in on the action tonight, Lou. We've got 5:45 left here in the first half.
And that's Romero's 6th touchdown pass in the first half. And Thermosgard puts it up and in, true and through, and now it's 39-7 in favor of the Mustangs. That one took 1 play and 6 seconds.
Well, it's going to be a long evening. This is going to be one of those games, son, that all we can do now is figure out what we can learn from this.
Absolutely. And hopefully we can get some good out of it, and try to hold the ball and don't make those penalties. Those are 2 big mistakes that the Cougars can't make for the rest of the game if they're going to have any inkling of making this a respectable score.
Now, I just found a breath mint here, Lou, on my paperwork. Is this a suggestion?
No, that's a lozenge. Dad's root beer.
Oh, okay. I thought you were maybe giving me a suggestion.
No. I would have given you the whole bottle.
Okay. Just as long as we understand one another.
There you go. No, it's a lozenge. It's a gift after the sandwich incident.
That kickoff goes out of bounds. It's worth noting, though, again, on the last score, also set up by a call fumble. We didn't happen to see it. Put a note here, turnover, fumble. That was called. We know that on one fumble, our replay showed that a fumble actually didn't occur on that. And the other thing I was going to say here, on the play, on the last play, and this is all behind us now as we see the official doing some housekeeping there, but quite frankly, it looked like Gaines had committed illegal procedure on the play, and which should have meant the play was blown dead.
Mm-hmm. So the Cougars should have still had the ball. I was thinking that same thing. But the penalty was waived off. There was a procedure penalty, but the penalty was waived off. That should have not been, as Johnson takes the quarterback reins now. And the pass is complete to Olase.
But I guess a little bit, just to finish the point, though, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but any procedure-type penalty against the offense automatically blows the play dead.
You're absolutely right.
Okay? The play's dead at that point.
Sure, I have no argument with you there, and it wasn't blown dead. Now, if it's an illegal motion penalty, is that a play still go?
Well, that one we'll have to sort out, and perhaps at halftime we'll have an opportunity to ask the officiating crew about that. But my first instinct is to say no, it still doesn't go because everything is meaningless.
Because I believe the right tackle or the tight end moved, and now moving with the ball is Alex Gaines. Gaines still on his feet at the 40 to the 45, and finally is thrown backwards but should be a first down or close to a first down.
It's going to be awfully close to a first down, Lou. Boy, and I tell you, that's where the squiggly lines may get you a little bit because that official initially, the side judge here, he was walking right along the stripe.
And you and I were talking about the...
And then the stripe bowed out just a little bit, and he no longer was on the stripe.
Like whoever was painting the lines sneezed right at that mark.
Here you see the replay of Gaines running, and this is what I was talking about. And now you've got Taj Johnson under center. And I'll develop that point in just a moment. It's as if, though, Coach H heard me. Now, Coach H doesn't need to hear me talk. He knows a lot more about football than I ever will.
Alex Gaines just wrangles the Mustangs past midfield and into Mustang territory for a first down.
Now, what they're doing is that they're making the adjustment. The question is it too little, too late?
Check that. That was Xavier Jackson. So the X-Man getting it done there.
Well, your lozenge has me coughing, Lou. I thought a lozenge was supposed to keep me from coughing. It's called a cough drop.
It's called a cough drop.
Well, I haven't dropped the cough. I just picked up a cough.
Okay.
Ball's loose on the ground. Johnson comes up with it, though.
As he's just an amazing young man, but unfortunately gets about a 6-yard loss. And it goes from the 49-yard line back to the 45-yard line of the Cougars.
I want to finish the point that I was making earlier in terms, as we watch the replay here, you see the ball coming loose and end up eventually with the 4 or 5-yard loss. But what the adjustment that they made was to take Gaines from under center, put him in his more natural position, or at least on one play, and now we see again. So you got Taj Johnson, number 4, back under center with Gaines in the backfield. It yielded good results the first time he did it.
And with him to his right is Xavier Jackson. So let's see what Taj can do. Hands the ball off to Jackson, trying to go over left tackle, still on his feet, getting to midfield, still on his feet, gets beyond the 45-yard line. A terrific run. Without the loss, it would have been a first down. But still, it's a good gain with 2:31 left to go in the first half, and it'll be third down and about 4 yards to go.
And that time they used Gaines as a decoy, which is okay too. So they got a big gain out of that, using Alex Gaines as a decoy on the play, gives them pretty decent field position. Crowd would like to see a score here, Lou. They still believe, and it's only 32 points, and heck, we still got a half football. You know?
That's true. I mean, the Cougars can put points up, that's for sure. We've seen that. As Amos is in motion to the near side, then the handoff goes to, I believe that's Gaines, and Gaines is wrapped up right away.
Well, this is going to be 4-down territory for him anyway, even though, there's a minute 43. I don't think you got much choice about it right now.
Yeah, with one, you're right, exactly. Coming out down to a minute and a half left in the half. And you're right here. You might as well. I haven't seen Ricky Reyes come on. He's ready to come on, but there's Chris Jordan coming on with the play. So it's going to
not be a bad time for a timeout as well, Lou. It's only a minute 43. And there you see Coach Hotel calling for the timeout.
Is that microphone go down to him that
you're wearing? They may have. They may have. I think Coach H may have said, this guy's been doing this for 17 years. Maybe he's learned 1 or 2 things along the way.
Maybe 3.
That's worth doing. So far we've seen 2 of them, though.
What's
You
that?
see me call for him to take Gaines from under center, put him in the backfield in his natural position, and then you just saw me call for the timeout.
So there you go.
Next week, fans, I'll be down the sideline. I'm gonna take off the headset up here, get down the sideline, put on me a jersey, and
You
start
should.
doing a little coaching.
Well, you should, absolutely. And the next game that we'll have, this is going to be a huge game, Linwood at Lusinger.
That will be an outstanding football game.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what you have here, and back to some serious football fans, is actually on a 4th and short. The first attempt I would make would be to draw them offside with a hard count. Okay.
And then call
pick
a
up
timeout.
the easy
You
first down.
Still have 2 timeouts
They
left.
should still have 2. If now this Mira Costa football team, fans, I know it sounds easy, and it always is easier said than done. It's easy to say, well, hey, let's come with a hard count and see if we can draw them offside and pick up the easy 5. Obviously, they've got a backup play if they don't. Now, they're going back with Gaines under center. This is an interesting scenario here. Let's see how this unfolds.
As we have trips on the right side as receivers rolling out is Gaines, looking for one of those receivers. Stops, throws, caught.
Picks up the first.
And it looks like a first down by Taz Johnson.
Yeah, that was plenty enough for the first down. I don't think there's any doubt about that one. It was close, but more than enough.
From the 46 or 42-yard line, 43-yard line to the 36-yard line. So a 7-yard gain from Gaines to Johnson. So in business is Alex Gaines at quarterback, back at quarterback. Straight back drop, pump fakes, now throws down the sideline. It is almost caught.
Maybe should. Okay, no flag there. Thought that may have drawn a flag, but it didn't.
Big old Chris Jordan almost had that one. And let's watch the replay.
Pump fake there by Gaines, and then decides to go deep. And what you're saying is that Jordan appeared to have slowed up on the play, and if he hadn't slowed up, it may have been 6 on the play. Those are all just little things that come from, in part, a lack of experience, in playing the game, and it's a part of the learning curve.
So it'll be 2nd down and 10. Gaines rolls out to his left, has good protection, throws hard down the middle, almost caught, and it is caught on the rebound on the tip drill play inside the 15 with 38 and a half seconds left to go. And Coach H will tell you that one was drawn up as Nate Amos made the catch.
Big play by the senior Nate Amos. He's been around for a while. And now they use another timeout, and wisely so, as they've got Mira Costa on their heels just a little bit. Cougars got 38 seconds and a fresh set of downs as they operate from about looks like they're at about the 14-yard line.
That's it. Nice replay there as Nate Amos got it on the chip drill. As Amos now with 2 catches, one for 25 yards, one for 21 yards. As the big guy, 5'9", 170-pound senior, has been doing it all game long, has just come up short on 2 interceptions. So Alex Gaines will have 1 running back behind him. It'll be the X-Man. 3 receivers to his right and 1 man, Jordan, to his left. Gaines has, that was a little bit of trickery. Gaines trying to get to the 10 is wide open in for the touchdown Cougars. Alex Gaines with 31 seconds left in the first half. A little bit of trickery there between the center and the quarterback, and Gaines gets in the 14-yard score.
We're going to see that replay again as the run started out. Excellent footwork there by Gaines. When you talk about being able to stop on a dime and reverse field, that's what you see him doing. I'd love if we have that replay to see it from the snap, okay? Because I think you're right. There was a tad bit of trickery there. But what happened, Lewis, what happens to an official so often, I'm not a football official, I am a basketball official, is that sometimes you'll see something There's Reyes' kick.
And it is Mr. Automatic. Ricky Reyes makes it 39-14. So that's got to be a moral victory going into the locker room with 31 seconds left to go. It was a 10-play drive, 4 minutes and 15 seconds. So that was a good drive by the Cougars to keep the ball out of the Mustangs' hands for that amount of time left in the half.
Big play by Nate Amos catching the deflected pass made a huge
Wasn't that in the
difference. Well, it ought to be next week. There are a couple of things that we've seen. What I was going to say was on that play that Gaines scored on, I think the officials got caught wide mouth because they saw something that they weren't quite sure what they saw. And that will happen to you as an official, and you're looking, well, what was that? And so you're not quite sure what happened, and they let it go because that's the same thing I saw. I'm trying to figure out what is this, and all of a sudden they score out of it. So Cougars bounce back.
So a 14-yard rushing touchdown for Alex Gaines, and that snaps the long scoring drought.
They decide to kick away, Lou, which was a good decision.
At the 9-yard line as the ball is picked up to the 30-yard line, and falling forward towards the 33-yard line are the Mustangs.
From the Cougars now.
Veloci on the tackle.
I tell you, I think you come with your nickel package now. And you get 5 guys back there in the backfield. What you don't want to have happen is that you don't want to score. You got to believe that you can contain Wolf Graham on the ground and the running backs, and they've kind of gotten that in check. But what's happened is that as they put Wolf Graham in check, they let the passing game go.
Romero out of the shotgun. Everybody's in the formation. Good protection. Picked off almost by Taz Johnson. He was laying in the weeds. Ian Wandler thought he had it in double coverage, towering over the defenders, but Johnson almost picked it off.
Well, you know, down in the country where I come from, Lou, we got to saying the greedy pig never gets fat. And Mira Costa was being a greedy pig on that one, and they almost got butchered. Because of Johnson, as you watch the replay here, Johnson is seeing the goal line in his eyes, all right? And that's how come he couldn't get it. Boy, I mean, his eyes lit up on that one, and there it is again. Oh!
And a good defensive play by the Cougars to not allow the Mustangs to get the first down as the pass was completed to Dubroff, the tight end. And now let's see, we got a timeout on the play by Mira Costa.
Water.
Mira Costa using their last timeout. I tell you, boy, they're playing very, very aggressive. You got to get Coach Don Morrow and his crew, his coaching staff. I suppose on one hand, kudos. I'll tell you what, if either one of those 2 passes had been intercepted and the Cougars, again, made an adjustment there, man, they came with, we called for a nickel package. I think that was more like a dime package where they had 6 defensive backs. I mean, they had everybody flood the backfield. I think they had everything covered. They kept the receivers, the Mira Costa receivers in front of them, and they were in a position on both of those last 2 passes to make plays on them, although one was caught by Mira Costa. The one that Johnson missed, boy, he just missed by an eyelash.
Now the Cougars' last drive, Rufus, you can't discount that one because just the time that they chewed off the clock is huge, and that they can take that into the locker room and build on that.
Well, it's a 39-14 score. Of course, one of those, a fumble that was called against the Cougars. In fact, 2 fumbles that were called, one of which clearly wasn't. The other one we couldn't see.
Yeah, 2 men back in the backfield with Romero, as actually that is not Romero taking quarterback, but boy, whoever that was just got belted. That is Kevin Romero.
Yeah,
Sorry
it was
about
Romero,
that
but what will happen
12.
is Romero will go to the locker room and he said, Coach, how about we don't call that play anymore? Okay.
As they did give them another first down and a 6-yard gain for Romero. Now the first half of play, Rufus, is in the books. It's 39-14 Mustangs over the Cougars. And what do the Cougars got to do to get back in this thing?
Well, the Cougars started to make some adjustments, and we'll develop that a little bit. The adjustments that they made that I like, one was to move Gaines around a little bit, take him from under center, give him an opportunity. If you're a running back, the guy has to have a certain amount of yards in front of him just to get his engine going. Once Gaines started to get his engine going by running out of the running back position, they put Taj Johnson under center. I'd say why not Xavier Jackson, but same difference. Same difference. You put somebody else in the center and let him run that way, and things worked out for him pretty well.
And we're going to find out in just a moment. Stay right where you are on Lawndale Hawthorne Community Cable Channel 22 Sports, as we'll bring you the second half. Mira Costa leading Hawthorne 39-14. We'll be back with the third quarter right after this.
Cougars are on the prowl.
Back at Halcap Field in Hawthorne, California, Hawthorne High School, the Cougars trail the Mustangs 39-14. Cougars, well, they got back on track, scoring the last touchdown on a 14-yard Alex Gaines run. And it should be an interesting second half as we get things going, as Ian Wandler kicks it off to Alex Gaines at the 4-yard line. Gaines to the 20-yard line, and now to the 21-yard line, and gets pushed back to about the 18, but the forward progress should be about to the 22-yard line. And just doing some numbers in the first half, Rufus, and 5 of the 6 touchdowns by the Mustangs were 3 of them were off of turnovers, and 2 of them happened after big penalties by the Cougars.
Here you see Alex Gaines on the kickoff, running hard and running strong, and that's what you want to see. You know, they're coming out of the locker room down 39-14, Lou. It's so easy to come out demoralized with your head down between your legs, but Gaines came out running strong. Let's see what the second half brings as he starts out under center.
So Xavier Jackson was not the quarterback, as the flea flicker.
It was a double flea flicker, Lou.
And it is almost caught in and out of the hands. Good defense by Nick Churko over on that side, as Bernard now getting up gimpy after that one, but he says, I'm not coming out. Well, let's watch the play.
It was a double flea flicker, Lou, as you see it come back around. Gaines gets it there, has enough time to set up, looks downfield, gets a good look at it, puts it right in Glenn Bernard's hands, and the defender there, though, was able to grab a hold of Bernard's arm to take the ball away from him. Now Glenn Bernard comes up limping real bad.
But he's still in there, coming in wide to the near side, wide to the left. 2 backs behind Alex Gaines as the defense backs off of the line. Gaines wants to run, gets to the 25-yard line, gets his way to the 30, just couldn't get away, but gets up to about the 34-yard line. It appears to be enough for a first down. Should be a first down. They had to get to the 33, and it is.
Good run by Gaines on that play. As we watch the replay, drops back in the pass formation. Boy, that's a lot. It looks a whole lot like Donovan McNabb on that. Tucks it down, then decides to take off, becomes a running back. Some might say Michael Vick, but in my mind's eye, more like Donovan McNabb.
That should be a good game this Sunday, but we'll go down to Charity Bailey after this play, because Alex Gaines is lined up in the shotgun. And offsides against the Mustangs. Let's go down to Charity Bailey. It should be, we'll get the indication, and offside. So now let's go down to Charity Bailey.
Thanks, guys. I caught up with Coach Hotelling just after halftime. He says in there, he told the guys, defense, block, tackle, offense, stop turning the ball over, stop making mistakes, and let's play football. So we'll see what happens second half. Back to you.
Thanks, Charity. And that terrific bright orange jacket on a fall evening that feels more like it's in Florida than it is in California. Taz Johnson gets the handoff and gets over to the 42-yard line. Good move against the grain, Rufus, by Taj.
Excellent move against the grain by Taj, and also gives us a chance to mention the great work that Charity Bailey does down there on the sideline as we watch Johnson here. Quite frankly, there was nothing on this play, Lou. As we watch the replay, Johnson makes a lot of this on second and third effort as he picks up 3 yards when he actually was initially stopped for maybe a yard or two loss.
How does he do that? Johnson is to the right of Gaines, Jackson to the left. Jordan wide to the left, 2 receivers to the right. Gaines pitches to Jackson, looks out, look out, it's on the ground. Jackson has to run, good block by Gaines. Here comes Jackson making something out of nothing, and there he goes to the 40, the 30, the 20, 10, 5, touchdown Cougars. Unbelievable, a 56-yard touchdown run, and oh my goodness, is there a yellow flag on the ground?
There's a yellow flag back there. There was clipping on the play, a block from behind. It's all coming back.
And I bet you I know where it was because I saw 2 gold-helmeted Mustangs go flying on one block. But let's watch this play as the 57-yard touchdown is nullified.
Now, this started off of a busted play. As you see, Jackson mishandled the pitch. That's the second time that's happened tonight. However, he picks it up. There's a good block right there.
There's your push.
That's it right there. Can't see who that was. It was big number 60 somebody. Looked
Chris
like
Lewis, probably.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. Looked like it was number 66. Of course, people say, well, if he hadn't committed that penalty, it'd be a touchdown. But the point was it was a touchdown because he committed the penalty. It. You know, granted, it was an illegal block, but if he doesn't throw it, in all likelihood, the tackle would have occurred way up there. So I don't think we can.
So now it goes all the way back to the 20-yard line.
They've got to get out to the 44 to pick up the first.
Now Alex Gaines is going to be back to pass, rolls out, throws against the grain, sets up the screen pass. Johnson has to catch up with his blockers. He's pretty speedy, he does, and he gets all the way up to the 43-yard line. Taj Johnson looking like Speedy, the Beep, the Roadrunner, getting up there.
Good play call that time by the coaching staff at Hawthorne. Excellent play calling.
So a big screen pass for Hawthorne, gets the ball up to 3rd down and a long one. We'll call it 2 yards to go. So Johnson with a 24-yard pass play, a screen pass play.
And all these little passes do, Lou, is set up. I mean, there's swing passes, which essentially give running backs an opportunity to run.
And Alex Gaines with the quarterback sneak gets it over the first down marker, and it's a first down Cougars with 9:05 left to go in the 3rd quarter. So the Cougars overcome that huge nullified touchdown. They washed it off and just said, let's keep the ball rolling, boys, and they did. So from the 47-yard line, a 3-yard gain for Gaines. And it's 1st and 10 from the 47. Gaines flanked by Johnson on his right, Jackson to his left. Handoff to Johnson, gets a block from Jackson, goes over left tackle, gets to the 50-yard line and just gets hammered back. So we'll give him forward progress to the 49-yard line and a 4-yard gain for Taj.
The Mira Costa defense that time led by Wolfgram. Wolfgram, who was one of the leading tacklers. Here we see Taj Johnson hitting the hole. You see Wolfgram roll off of the offensive lineman, and boy, he had a lot of hand in the face there. Officials didn't see that.
Well, they got it.
Well, all right then.
I was just going to say they had to come up with the even upper there from the first half.
Don't need to tell you once again, extra camera work brought to you by the fine crew here at Hawthorne Lawndale Community Cable Channel 22 under the expert direction of one Mr. Tom Strickfad. Because I know I saw it there. I never saw the flag on the field.
But it was only a 5-yarder on that one. Okay, now Gaines keeps the ball. Does he keep it? Yeah, he still has it. Had to look at the running backs.
Wow, it's got awfully close, though.
Let's see where they mark the ball. It looks to be a first down at the 42-yard line, and it is a first down for the Cougars.
Well, the Cougars are certainly controlling the ball here. Once again, you see Gaines with it. Looks like he's strung out a little bit, but again, the difference is with his speed, he's able to turn it up before the pursuit gets there, picks up the first down. We've got nearly 4 minutes gone by here. Cougars need to score with a little more efficiency in terms of clock usage, because right now they're down by 25.
Chris Jordan is split wide to the near side. Gaines out of the shotgun. He'll hand it off to Jackson, going over to the short side, the right side, and is hammered and may have been lucky enough to get back to the line of scrimmage. And did we get a flag over on the far sideline, Rufus?
Got a flag on the far sideline, Lou. I think that's going to be a personal foul, late hit, out of bounds.
All right, let's find out from our white hat.
Uncharacteristic foul by Mira Costa, and there you see the referee, none other than David Baitenock, indicating that the foul is against Mira Costa, and that, of course, is going to be an automatic first down as well.
So that's good news for the Cougars, uncharacteristic for the Mustangs, trying to keep their record perfect at 3-0, 39-14. You wouldn't expect a team with that big of a lead to be that rambunctious. So anyway, it's first down and 10 from the 30-yard line. So good news for the Cougars as Alex Gaines is off to the races again, gets away from one tackle and gets about 4 yards to the 46-yard line.
Well, you follow your best blocking, generally speaking. Of course, they're operating with the short side of the field almost exclusively. I got to tell you, I believe that Gaines can run better if he's in the open field with a little more room to make his moves. Sideline is an enemy to you in that situation.
So only a 1-yard gain for Gaines. So it'll be second down and 9, just barely a yard. So out of the shotgun, that's a pretty star-spangled shotgun for the Cougars, with Gaines, Jackson on his left, Johnson on his right. As here comes Gaines on the option play. Look out. Jackson had to come back and get it. Still on his feet, getting to the 25-yard line. Now we got some pushing and shoving going on as Jackson finally falls backward, but he gets up to about the 26-yard line for about a 3-yard gain.
I'm going to be honest with you, Lou. I'm not sure that pass was intended for Jackson. I personally think that was probably intended for Taj Johnson, and Jackson just happened to be in the right place. Let's watch the replay, and we'll see here. You decide for yourself, fans, who you think it's for. There was a fake pitch there. Well, so you got 2 guys in the area. But it looks like, on second thought, it may well have been intended for number 2. But you had, that's Jackson, of course, but you had Johnson in the area as well.
Out of the shotgun is actually under center. As Bernard was back there, we have a penalty flag on the play. As the pass is incomplete, Taj Johnson was the intended receiver.
Throwing into a lot of traffic there right near the line of scrimmage. To me, if you're going to throw the ball, you got to look up the field.
And usually that's where holding is called, right around the line of scrimmage. The back judge or the referee will throw that flag right towards the line of scrimmage, so the Cougars shoot themselves in the foot.
See, that's not the screen never developed. If that was intended to be a screen play, it never developed. In fact, the defenders were in the backfield with the receiver rather than having flooded the line.
Okay, so it'll be third down and a whole bunch, almost 20 yards to go, 19 yards to go, back to the 39-yard line. Gaines rolls out to the left, has a man wide open. Nate Amos, actually that's Bernard. Glenn Bernard picks it up off the grass, but the officials say he short-hopped it.
Well, I think they're going to give him the reception, Lou, but what happens is in high school football, once your knee touches, you're down, whether it's by contact or not.
Okay, so we'll see It'll be 4th down. You think they're going to go for it here?
That's 4 down territory. You're down 39-14. You really don't have much of a choice.
That's right. Even though you're within Ricky Reyes's field goal range, still need to go for it. Down by a whole bunch.
Remember what we said, Coach Hotelin's philosophy is the first 5 sets up the last 5. So all of these games, these situations are situations that the Cougars can learn from. Of course, they want to execute here, but the point is you're getting game time practice in something that'll help you out in league play.
Gaines, good protection as he rolls, and now trying to get that first down, but no, it's caught down at the 10-yard line and into the end zone. Touchdown, Cougars. Glenn Bernard with a touchdown, and now it's 39-14. Let's look for a flag. I don't see any yellow laundry down there, so it's a touchdown for Hawthorne, and they get the 6 points closer. So a 26-yard pass from Gaines to Bernard. That's their second hookup of the night, Rufus.
Absolutely, and a great look there. Bernard coming back to the ball. Gaines buying as much time as he could on the roll. Excellent block set there by one of the Cougar offensive backs.
I want to say that Brandon Vernon has a nice pickup on the snapback by Taj Johnson. That really gave Ricky Reyes an assist on that extra point, as it's now 39-21.
Boy, and that came at the 4:40 mark, and if I'm not mistaken, the Cougars have had the ball the whole third quarter up to that play.
Yes, they have.
So they controlled 7 minutes and 20 seconds. Took a long time to get those 7, but I'm sure
That's
they'll
okay,
take
they'll
them.
take
And the other thing it does is that it kept the Mira Costa offense off the field.
That's right, and a 26-yard touchdown pass from Gaines to Bernard. That's the second touchdown for each of them tonight, and a terrific one it was as they hooked up towards. They hooked up for their first score to make it 12-7 for a 12-yard pass back in that wild first quarter. So Ricky Reyes will kick it off to Mira Costa, who will get the ball back for the first time this quarter. That's a good sign for the Cougars. They put a couple of good drives back to back, ending the second quarter, now here to begin the second half.
Absolutely, Lou. And again, as I said, they went for it on 4th. That'll come back to serve them well later in the season because it's a confidence builder. And that's what sports is about. Sports is about confidence, and confidence breeds success.
Ricky Reyes is going to do the onside kick, and it looks like it's going to go out of bounds. So that's not what Mr. Reyes wanted to do.
Not at all. Did not work. That one, the execution didn't work. For a second there, we thought they had a shot at it, but the ball continued sailing out of bounds, and what it's going to do...
He did it too good.
Did it too well.
And they're going to start right there at midfield, it appears.
Of course, Mira Costa has the option of accepting the penalty and making them kick again.
What do you think? I'll say, wait a minute, no, I'm going to get the ball to 50? No, thanks, let's kick it over.
So, once again, we talked about this in the first half. Mira Costa now getting the opportunity to work with half a football field.
That's right, and an opportunity for receivers and a tight end. As now something's going on the far sideline. Right at the 50-yard line, the officials trying to make sure that the markers are correct.
Okay. It's a sideline penalty that they called or it's a sideline warning that time against Mira Costa.
Man in motion as the ball is handed off to Wolfgram, is met after about a 2-yard gain and then pushed back by the Cougars.
Good pursuit to the ball by the Cougar defense, but I can tell you, looking at it from up here, Lou, and while I can only imagine what it's like for the Red 11 or the Cardinal 11 that are down on the field. I mean, that spread offense really, really puts a lot of pressure on you because there's so many different places that the ball can go on any given play.
With the spread offense, it also makes a spread defense, as now you have trips to the right, 2 receivers to the left, naked backfield for Romero, quick throw, caught on the wide receiver screen, and then splattered down. Fumble on the play. Who's got it? Who are they? They're the Cougars. That's
They're
who
the
they
Cougars. The Cougars in Cardinal. There's no call yet. Cougars think they have it.
Let's see who comes up off the bottom. Jordan was there.
Well, from all indication, it looks like Mira Costa is going to retain possession. One of the things I was about to say that the Cougars haven't shown, if they're going to come with a naked backfield like that, I'm blitzing.
Okay.
I'm blitzing at least one guy. You know, you got to take away Romero's time to sit back there and find his targets. And you do that by putting a little bit of pressure on him. This time he's got backs in the backfield, so you got to play it a little more honestly, send the man in motion.
Dubroff, who caught that last pass, is in motion. Romero, look out, here comes the blitz, and he is blitzed down. Terrific defensive play by the Cougars, and the tackle was made by Damon Alosi.
Well, what can I say, Lou?
You're the man. A loss on the play of 3 yards, so it'll be 4th down and 4, and here comes the punting unit on for Mira Costa.
Good look there on your screen at 6'2", 225-pound senior Damon Alosi.
Nice kick by Wandler as Alex Gaines just lets it go into the end zone, and it'll be a touchback, 20-yard line for the Cougars. Gaines says, I'll just take my chances from there.
Well, Lou, with 2:24 left here in the third, I think it's probably punished you enough. You've looked at this sandwich long enough. I actually brought that from the truck for you.
That is...
I enjoyed mine
that's not a sandwich.
Halftime.
That's a manwich.
Yeah, you got that right.
You know, Tom Strickfaden is a terrific production person. He is a terrific talent coordinator, and he knows his sandwiches.
That indeed he does.
Yes, sirree. 2:24 left to go in the third quarter. 39-21. The Cougars trail the Mustangs. Alex Gaines out of the shotgun. Johnson and Jackson are with him. The option play. Gaines keeps it and maybe gets a yard.
Maybe gets a yard once again, running a little bit more difficult in this area of the field. Gaines perhaps would benefit, as we said earlier, and as the Cougars did a couple of times, from being able to get it coming out of the backfield rather than under center.
I'm just looking across the sideline at Mira Costa. How many people did they bring over here?
Well, I think what they do, Lou, and I'll mention that point in a second after this play.
Vincent Stewart is one of the receivers as Gaines throws it across the middle. It's caught by Jordan. Jordan up to the 30-yard line and past the 30-yard line. First down Cougars, but there's a yellow penalty flag back at the 20-yard line.
Well, this one will certainly have an impact because they picked up the first down on the play, but from where that flag is, you got to think this one's going to come back, Lou.
Now the preliminary indication is holding. And just trying to find out where it is. Couldn't see it. But it's going to come back. All the way back to the 12-yard line. Check that, right at the 10-yard line.
Now, you were talking about the size of the squad that Mira Costa has. I can only speculate, but I think that this is what they do, which is something similar to what LaSalle does, and that's that, first of all, the JV and the varsity work out together, and so oftentimes, especially on a short trip like this for Mira Costa, because fans are in Manhattan Beach, now we're going to have what would appear to be okay, Cougars take a timeout. They were approaching a delay of game call, but to complete the thought is that in a lot of programs, and in this one where the JV and the varsity practice together, which is what they do at LaSalle, and I assume that they do that certainly at Mira Costa, is that all the players travel.
Okay.
So you got a lot of kids over there who are JV players. One or two may get in the game, most won't, but they get the experience of going. And the other thing that happens is that they all know, every player on that sideline, that's what I'm saying, even though he's a JV player, knows every play that the varsity players know because they practice every single down together.
And every single player has a wristband with every single play on it. So that way the hand signals come in, and that's why you see a no-huddle offense on the Mustang offense. So that's why they move real quick.
I thought Mira Costa bragged a lot about how high the SAT scores were. I mean, you got to walk around with the plays on your wrist? Geez, we only use 10% of our brain.
I know you used to write them down on your hand, and then by the time the first quarter came, the sweat would be.
Well, ours was real simple. Either pass it or take it and chunk it. You know?
Bernard catches a swing pass and gets up to the 20-yard line. A good gain for the Cougars. Back to the original line of scrimmage, about a 10-yard gain from Gaines to Bernard.
We had a simple play in the street, Lou. We'd line up and we say, look, I'm going to run down to the old Pontiac down there on the left-hand side, and you just take and chunk it as far as you can.
How many times did you wreck your knee in that old 56?
Hey, well, I stayed to the inside. That's why I could go over the middle.
There you go.
Because in the street, the sideline is not your friend.
That's right. Gaines wants to look to pass it off to somebody or pitch it off to somebody, but can't, and is buried back at the 18-yard line. Alex just doing good enough to only lose a yard, maybe two on that one, losing 1 yard. So Alex was lucky to stay out of too much trouble.
It's now 4th and 11 for the Cougars.
So it'll be 4th down and 11 yards to go.
Cougars not able to get much out of that drive, Lou. That drive had huge potential for him. Where, boy, now you think the first half was quick. This quarter has actually been very quick.
It just zipped by as Ricky Reyes kicks the ball high. Fair catch called for and taken by Trevor Koppel. There's 26.5 seconds left to go. Excellent field position for the Mustangs as the third quarter winds down.
Officials in their generosity opt not to throw a flag on Donnell Watson there. First of all, he had ample time to stay away from the punt return man. Did make contact. They ruled it incidental, and they let it go.
So it'll be 1st and 10 from the 47-yard line.
And it's a hot night out here. When you see a Cougar take his head off, all right, that's a hot night.
It is warm
You won't
in here.
see that often in life, fans.
Quick pass by Romero. Gets the pass off to Bruce Robinson. Robinson banging his way up to about the 42-yard line. So quick hitch pass by Romero and the Mustangs.
Things getting just a little bit chippy out there between the Mira Costa players and the Cougars. There you see number 24, Bobby Lee. Bobby Lee right in the midst of that play. Came out of it a little bit upset. I'm not sure if something was said underneath or whatever. Now he recognizes that Nate Amos, who was playing peacemaker, was actually doing him a favor by helping him to keep his emotions in check.
And now the third quarter comes to an end with the Cougars scoring the lone touchdown in that quarter. So now they tighten up the ball game. It's 39-21 in favor of Mira Costa. And we're going to be with the exciting fourth quarter coming up. As there's Coach H getting things going, as along with Charity Bailey, I'm Lou Stowers, and Rufus Washington is here as well, as Coach H looking for something to drink or just making sure the guys are going to be hydrated there, because it has been very hot and very humid, as the lone touchdown was a terrific pass play from Alex Gaines to Glenn Bernard, their second hookup of the night for a score, as that was 26 yards, and a 7-minute and 20-second drive. And boy, what a terrific drive that was to keep the Mustangs completely out of the third quarter, mostly out of the third quarter for more than half of the third quarter.
And that's what I was going to say, Lou. Excellent drive, excellent ball control by the Cougars. You know, but sometimes what's good for you isn't what's good for you, if you can follow that. Meaning, I mean, it took them 7 minutes and 20 seconds to score. The only problem is they were down by 25 when they started that, and that one drive ate up most of the quarter. And of course, they've got a huge deficit to make up, and now they've got 18 points to make up, if I'm reading this right, and they do.
Yep.
In these final 12 minutes.
Well, let's see. We've got a penalty. Oh, wait a minute. No, is it no, it's not a penalty. It's just somebody mismarked the ball. Went from one 42-yard line to the other 42-yard line. It should be the drive started at the 47. So it should be 2nd down and 5. And now we're getting everything straightened out. Trips to the far side. 3 wide receivers over there. Romero hands the ball off to Wolfgram. Wolfgram running roughshod through the Cougar defense. Gets a first down all the way down to the 32-yard line. So a 10-yard gain for Charlie Wolfgram.
Well, that was one of Wolfgram's better runs of the night, actually. In all fairness to the Cougar defense, as you see Wolfgram here go straight up the middle. Good blocking there. Turned him outside. Once the Cougars got there and got to him, the big number 55, one of the key guys to bring him down, and that was Oscar Arevalo.
He is so active and a good lineman on both sides. Romero's going to take off, gets to the 30-35, and gets out of bounds before Lynn Featherstone could lay a lick on him. And now Lynn comes up a little lame after landing in the pole vaulting pit, the triple jump pit, the long jump pit.
I think he probably got a little sand in his eyes as well over there, Lewis. What happened, he runs back out on the field. Looks like he's going to be okay.
Okay, so an 8-yard gain for Romero.
Yeah. And I don't think Romero necessarily has running skills. I think Romero has scared skills. I mean, he looked to be running for his life on that play.
Well,
and did a pretty good job.
Little Ray Lewis coming at you, too.
Worked out well for him.
So at the 24-yard line, I believe an illegal procedure is going to be called against the Mustangs.
Well, this is close to the question mark that we had in the first half with regard to whether or not the play should have been blown dead on the Cougars in situation. Well, now they're saying the Cougars were offside, which meant that they stepped into the neutral zone. That's the one play in high school that's different than at the other levels because you can get back.
Well, it must have been against the Cougars, but you said that, right? Okay. I was confused. I'm sorry. So it's to the 19-yard line. So 1st and 10, that gives the Mustangs a first down. Romero on the shovel pass is complete to Bullock. Bullock still on his feet.
Ball's loose. That's a loose ball. The Cougars have it. Cougars have it. Go.
Let's wait and see.
Okay.
It is Cougars ball, picked up by Nate Amos. And Lynn Featherstone got the worst of it on the bottom of the pile. But Nate Amos has had his nose around the ball all game long on both sides. And let's hope that Lynn is okay. Featherstone, 6'1", 190, was a little lame after the last play. And now let's take a look at it. As Bullock has the ball, running by, and the big tackle was by Featherstone. So he laid the lick on Bullock, got the fumble. So he forced the fumble for Amos to take, but it was Featherstone's hits that now leaves him on the ground.
Still in an injury timeout. I don't know if he's got a...
There's Nate, who recovered the fumble. And boy, what a game he's had. As Nate in the first half had 3 receptions for 59 yards and a touchdown. And now they're still attending to Lynn Featherstone on the far sideline, just inside the 10-yard line. So we'll hope that he is okay. But with 11:18 left in the fourth quarter, left in the game, the Cougars pick up the ball. It'll be at their own 9-yard line after the fumble.
Well, one good sign, and you look for every sign you can see. First of all, you see Featherstone moving his extremities, which is a good sign. a very good sign, first and foremost. So we'll take that as a positive, and we'll go from there in terms of what his overall condition might be.
Well, let's hope that that the only thing that happened to him is he got his bell rung. Maybe the wind knocked out of him, because he did hit big Mr. Bullock and then ended up on the bottom of the pile, as Coach H and the training staff is out there tending to Lynn. And he is moving his hands and talking to Coach H and the trainer, so that's even better news. He is alert.
Gives us a chance to remind you, while they attend to Lynn Featherstone, that next Friday night, Channel 22 Sports will be at Lusinger, home of the Olympians, over at Olympian Field, as they host a very good Linwood football team.
That's right. And now, Linwood, is that the Vikings?
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. I don't think they're the Vikings.
Purple.
I think they're the Knights, but I could be wrong.
Okay, purple and gold. I saw one of their coaches with a video camera at Lusinger at the Mayor's Cup, rolling tape on that game. But as far as Hawthorne goes, a terrific ending to the first half with a touchdown, as it was Gaines' a 14-yard run, a big drive, almost a 5-minute and 45-second drive to end the first half, and then to open the first half, they came up with another big drive to tack on a touchdown, and have really come up big on the defensive side of the ball, shutting down the Mustangs, coming up with big plays. And one big play right now, as Featherstone forced the fumble on Bullock, and it was picked up by Nate Amos. And if Charity Bailey is ready, we'll go down to her with an update.
All right, guys, we're down here on the field, and there's been an injury to linebacker Lynn Featherstone. Right now, they're saying it's something with his neck. They can't give an exact diagnosis, but as you see here on the field, it's pretty serious. The trainer and the team doctor are both out there taking very, very serious precautions. So we'll update you when we know exactly what's wrong with him, but for now, we just know that it's some kind of injury to the neck. Back up to you.
Thank you, Charity, and we hope that it's just a stinger, if that, in fact, is what is wrong with Lynn.
Well, again, we saw there in the picture, Lou, him just move his leg. So
it's great news.
Again, we have every reason to be very optimistic about, and now he's moving his arm. So with a neck injury, certainly the first thing that one thinks is something a lot more severe. One thinks in the context of paralysis and things like that. Clearly, that's not the case right now. As you said, we're going to hope that it's a stinger. But once again, what's happening is that everyone, the officiating crew and the coaches, are taking every precaution, as is a requirement under CIF and National High School Federation rules, that first and foremost, the safety of the players is always paramount, and everything comes second to that. So
Absolutely.
They'll take as much time as need be, Lou, to make sure that they've got Featherstone properly attended to before this game goes on.
And the training staff and Coach H right there. Like you say, the good news is arms and legs are moving on Lynn, who calls himself Lil Ray Lewis. And just a nice kid to be around. A lot of confidence in Lynn Featherstone. I laugh because he's one of those practical joker kind of guys. A 6'1", 190-pound senior. And he just loves to have fun on the football field and plays with reckless abandon like his hero, Ray Lewis. And we hope all is well. And why don't we take a timeout? 11:18 left to go in the fourth quarter. Cougars will have the ball when we come back. It is 39-21. The Cougars trail the Mustangs on Channel 22 Sports. Lynn Featherstone is on a gurney right now. Paramedics have been called out after the vicious scramble for the forced fumble. As there you see Lynn and the paramedic staff, and he is waving his fist, and that's great news. Little Ray Lewis pumping the crowd up as he goes towards the ambulance and will be taken to a hospital for observation. A possible neck injury, but we're not doctors. We don't even play one on television, so we're not even going to speculate as he's being loaded up onto the ambulance. And with the LA City and County Fire Department paramedics, you know that he is in terrific hands. And we're going to get the game going right away as there was a prayer ring. We'll show you the replay and try to tell you exactly what happened to Lynn Featherstone as Alex Gaines and Coach H and the rest of the Cougars don't want to waste any time. They just want to forget about it and play in honor of Lynn Featherstone, their fallen Cougar.
There you saw in that camera shot our erstwhile sideline reporter Charity Bailey right there at the ambulance, and we know Charity will have some information for us first opportunity she gets.
She got a nose for news as Alex Gaines trying to get out of trouble, gets away from one tackler, gets some blockers, gets up to the 15-yard line, up to the 19-yard line, and a terrific play by Alex Gaines just 1 yard away from a first down. So it'll be second down and about 1 for big game Gaines.
And
you want to go back and look at that replay, Rufus?
Okay, as you watch the replay here, remember on the play Mira Costa fumble, there was the inside shuffle. You're going to see Gaines, first of all, there's Featherstone there, number 9, for those of you fans who don't know. Ball comes loose. Featherstone now in pursuit of it. He goes face first, as well as number 5 for Mira Costa, and I believe you.
And we'll analyze it after this next play, as we tried to get all the numbers and all the names, and we have a penalty against the Cougars. It'll go back 5 yards, so it'll be first down and 15 when we come back. Let's go back and look at that replay once again.
And before we go back to that, Lou, right now we need to take note of the fact that Alex Gaines right now is a little slow to get going on this play. On the last play, when he was tackled, he's going to be okay, but he came down on the football, hit him right in the solar plexus. Now, this is back to the play that Lynn Featherstone was hurt. Once again, you see
that's Bullock running with the ball.
To the inside. Alex Gaines with a nice low hit there.
Also Danielle Watson.
Featherstone now sees the ball is loose. He begins his pursuit of it.
That's right. Featherstone and Nate Amos. And then coming in from the right, that streak there, that's Bruce Robinson. And we don't know if Featherstone and Robinson connected, and then Bobby Lee comes in on the top of the pile, and that might have added more injury to Lynn Featherstone. But again, I don't want to speculate, but it was a vicious play for a loose ball, and all those young men doing their best to get the ball for their team.
Okay, let's go down to Charity, Lou. She's got a report for us.
All right, guys, I found out what went on with Lynn Featherstone. Him and Nate Amos were both going for the ball on the fumble recovery, and they went head first into one another. So as a result, Nate Amos got up and Lynn Featherstone lie on the ground. Now, the Hawthorne paramedics came, and I caught up with his mother. He was laying down on the ground, and she says that she doesn't know what's wrong with him. All they all know is that he has sustained a neck injury. So once again, Lynn Featherstone, linebacker, has sustained a neck injury after going head-to-head with Nate Amos on the fumble recovery. They say that he should be okay, seeing as how, as they were talking to him, he was responding, and also he was moving his legs, which is a good sign because that means there's no paralysis. So we'll keep you updated if we find out any more information. As for now, they're going to take him onto a local hospital and get him squared away. Back up to you.
Thank you very much, Charity, for that fine report. Now, Alex Gaines is out of the game. Xavier Jackson is in the game through a pass that was incomplete, so it'll be second down and 14 yards to go. Alex maybe with a cramp, hopefully. That's all it is the X-Man trying to get away from trouble, and then finally runs into the big wall that is Matt Duffy and is down to the 19-yard line.
So, Cougars trying to, as we all are fans, and quite frankly, there are 10 minutes left. All of the action and stoppage of play occurred with about 11:18 left in the contest. You can feel the air having gone out of not only the fans in the stand, but also the players out on the field. And there's still a lot of football time left, and they're all trying to regroup. I want to say one final thing before we get back to what's going on here, and that's the fact that there were good signs, with regard to Lynn Featherstone, and that although he did suffer an injury, it was not of the severe nature as it could be.
As Taj Johnson was in trouble, and he tried to lateral the ball back to Xavier Jackson, and he did pick up the ball and was buried under a sea of white shirts, and a huge loss all the way back to the 10-yard line. So
and
go
Johnson,
ahead with your thought.
Right, and Johnson staggers to his feet as well. So the Cougars getting beat up a little bit out here right now. And once again, you saw, again, a play that didn't go too well for the Cougars. But back to Lynn Featherstone as the Cougars punt here.
Beautiful punt by Ricky Reyes, and it gets a nice Cougar bounce, and it's going to go out of bounds inside of Mustang territory. Now we have a flag on the play, way back at about the 30-yard line, probably some players barking at each other, and we'll see what this is all about.
And you got to hope that this isn't against the Cougars more than anything else. I have no idea who it's against, quite frankly, but I do hope it's not against the Cougars, because if it is and it's unsportsmanlike, what it's starting to show again is, and that was a call, and unfortunately that was my worst fear.
We'll see. You try to find out where Alex Gaines is. Don't see him on the sideline. Do you see him in the defensive backfield? Nate Amos is where he normally is. Alex on the sideline running sprints. So that's good news.
Running sprints, trying to stretch out that hamstring, and just as you said, it looks like he may have had a cramp there. I mean, you look at this guy's calves and thighs, man. I mean, he's built like a running back, and I would hope that before the season is over that he's able to get back to his more conventional position, because that's where his future is. And that's at running back.
That's right. Xavier Jackson might be going at quarterback for the rest of the game, so we'll check that out. But first of all, here come the Mustangs, and the Mustangs on a running play rumble for about 7 yards down to the 28-yard line as Wolfgram is at it again for the Mustangs. So it'll be second down and about 2 yards to go.
Mustangs trying to, once again, they're content at this stage, Lou, with 18-point lead to run the ball. Although they set up the pass this
goes
time.
Romero
keeps
gets
himself.
whacked.
Romero takes a big hit, and that's what you want to do when you got a puny quarterback running the ball. You want to play, especially when you're a natural quarterback like Romero is. You want to put a lick on him, make him change his mind about that.
That's right. You're coming into my neighborhood now. Watch this lick. Boom. Nice, clean hit by Brandon Burnham. Puts his shoulder right underneath the chin strap. So at any rate, it's a first down at the 17-yard line. Draw play, going over the right side.
That's Wolfgram. So, number 30, surprisingly, out of all the scoring that Mira Costa has done with the big back for them that Wolfgram is, he's yet to get in the end zone, Lou.
Well, I'm sure they're going to try to get Mr. Wolf. Will the Wolf survive tonight into the end zone? Now it's going to be first and goal inside the 10-yard line at about the 6. So an 11-yard run for Wolfgram.
You like to keep all your dogs fed, Lou. You don't like hungry dogs out there, okay?
That's right. If you got the big dog like Wolfgram, you got to let him guard the yard. Handoff, draw play right up the middle. Inside the 5-yard line goes Wolfgram.
Now the other
Pelosi
thing
on the tackle.
I'm sorry, Lou. The other thing this also does, I mean, first of all, it's an obvious coaching strategy, which makes all the sense in the world. First of all, to give Wolf Graham the ball. The other thing that it does, I'm going to play pop psychologist inside the head of Coach Don Morrow, is that the running game keeps the clock going, and I think more than anything else, they want to get this game over with and get out of here. There's Wolf Graham. He's in the end zone. So they've covered that base now.
That's right. Wolf Graham with the touchdown to make it 45-21 with 6:07 left to go in the ball game. So about a minute and a half on that drive.
And
Six plays.
There you see the big back that Wolf Graham is, a big bull of a back.
Ooh, man, he ran over big old Oscar Aravello, and that's not an easy job to do because Oscar is 6'1", 200. Thermos Goods kicks it up and through, and now it's 46-21. Mira Costa well in control of this ball game and well on their way to being 4-0 as Bay League approaches. And there's Mr. Wolf Graham with a nice touchdown, a nice score for the 6-foot, 205-pounder.
And as much as the games are important, Lou, I can tell you at this point that, and unfortunately this is what happens as it relates to the Hawthorne Cougar players, their fans, and the coaching staff. The result of this game, all of a sudden becomes a lot less important than the health and welfare of Lynn Featherstone right now.
Absolutely. This one, just wash this down the drain, and we will say a thought and a prayer, light a candle for Lynn Featherstone. But the good thing is he was playing to the crowd, pumping his fist on his way to the ambulance.
And that's what I mean. He's in good shape. I mean, it could be as simple as a neck sprain, but with all neck injuries, you exercise due caution. That was what they did. And so here we are.
As Alex Gaines has the ball, trying to get something out of this, go against the grain, and might have gotten to the 15-yard line. So Gaines will be in the backfield. Here comes Xavier Jackson off of the field as we're in a timeout, or just trying to get something going as the play will be called on the sideline. 5:57 left to go in the ball game. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Cougars at their own 15-yard line. So the play is called. And it looks like Xavier Jackson will run the team, run the offense. Alex Gaines is on the sideline with Taj Johnson. Out of the eye as the ball is handed off and hit immediately at the 14-yard line. Brandon Burnham was the ball carrier on that, and maybe got back to the line of scrimmage.
It's becoming a war of attrition, Lou, to use a oft-used cliche, but for these Cougars, it really and truly is. You now have Gaines, who's out, and a couple of other of their key players are right now on the sideline. Jackson, who initially didn't take the field, is now under center at quarterback.
And the ball is picked off by Tim Mobley. Mobley will motor in for the touchdown. That's a Trevor Koppel. And Koppel runs it back for about a 24-yard touchdown on the interception off of Xavier Jackson at the 5:05 mark. That makes it 52-21.
Well,
and that's the third interception for Koppel, so he's doing very well for Coach Morrow and the Mustangs on the defensive side of the ball as well as the offensive side.
And this is a prime example of what they mean, fans, when they see a player hasn't had enough reps during the game. And I think that particular play by Xavier Jackson, who, make no doubt about it, is the quarterback of this football team. But that play comes from just
rust. This is a tough
rust.
throw, running the other way and throwing back and throwing into triple coverage almost, as the ball was intended. It appeared for Chris Jordan. And a whole host of blockers. There's no chance for the Mustangs to stop Koppel on the way to the end zone. So the extra point, no good. And now the Cougars will get the ball back. So I would imagine after that, Alex Gaines and Taj Johnson's nights are over. It'll be Jackson and Johnson back deep for the Cougars to accept the kickoff from Ian Wandler. Big ol' Ian about ready to tee things up.
So after having played 3 early non-league games, rather close in fashion, Lou, as I said, this Mira Costa team, although they were 3-0, they were winning by only an average of about 5.5 points a game. They come in here tonight, and right now they're holding a 31-point lead on these Hawthorne Cougars with still 5 minutes left in the contest.
Jackson picking his way through a crowd, gets up to beyond the 20-yard line, then push back, and we have another Cougar down who gets up slowly. That's Oscar Arevalo. And with a Charlie horse. And again, this is a very humid, warm evening. And if you don't drink your water and eat some ice down with it, you're going to overheat. So this humidity, especially at night, is very unusual for these young men out here, even for us grizzled old veterans.
Indeed it is, and as I said, our working conditions up here in the
beautiful
booth they're beautiful, if you want to say that.
Opulence.
I don't know whether you're talking about the working conditions or the sights going by the booth, but either way.
Well, the parade is wonderful.
All right then. Fans, we're just trying to get out of here with the rest of the team intact, considering the circumstances. That's Gaines still in the quarterback. Dumps off a pass in the flat to Olasey, and he'll get about 5 yards on the play, Lou. So
Alex is back in the ball game. So good to see him get back in and saying, Coach, let me wrap this one up with 4:25 and rolling.
One of the things as you look at this varsity squad, and I want to say this for kids out in the Hawthorne community who are watching, there are a lot of opportunities. Wow, just not enough arm strength to get it there.
Now Alex Gaines is on the turf again, getting up slowly, favoring the backside of his left leg, and now he's kind of wobbly getting up there, but he doesn't even look over the sideline, just limps back to the huddle. And now Xavier Jackson is going to go out to get him. But Gaines doesn't want to come out, so Damon
actually Olasey comes out instead of Gaines, and Jackson wasn't exactly running out there to get in on this. You know, I mean, he was kind of like being pushed out there, Lou.
Wait a minute, I'm not going to be the one to tell Alice to come out. So he lines up behind him. Poor X. Now Alex heaves it downfield, has a man open, and as that was Bernard going against a big man in the backfield.
And Bernard actually became a defensive back on that play, is what he did, and he's pretty excited about the fact that he broke up what would have been an interception. So good play there by Glenn Bernard on that as we watch the replay here.
Just kind of floated that one up. Looked like a dead duck coming out of the air. So good play by Bernard as now Ricky Reyes comes on to punt the ball from his own 24-yard line, 25-yard line. Now he gets off a nice punt, and we're going to get a roughing the kicker call on that one. As they came in, the Mustangs came in on little Ricky Reyes and poured themselves on him. One of the better punts of the night by Ricky. And now the Cougars are going to get an automatic first down on the roughing the kicker call.
Okay, well, We'll have to see the mechanic of the official of the referee, because hopefully it was an improper mechanic that he used. And when I say mechanic, that's nothing more than the signals, whether it's basketball or football, that the official used to tell the fans and the coaches exactly what he's called. And now we're going to see Baton Knock come over and give us a clear indication, hopefully, of what the call is.
And they're still discussing it as the teams are going.
Well,
it was against the Cougars. Well, Ricky Reyes did a good job of acting, because I thought that he got roughed. So,
and quite frankly, I'm not. Cougars are now taking a timeout.
It's at the 40-yard line of the Cougars. And some confusion out there as to maybe what the penalty was, as Ricky Reyes is even out there on defense for this Cougar squad.
And there's Coach Hotellin asking the official, Baton Knock himself, the exact same thing. What's your call? Right now, Coach Art Hotellin not very pleased with the goings-ons here. I think he's less concerned about his players and so forth, but and when I say his players, I mean in terms of the game itself. Folks,
right.
The score is 52-21. The result is no longer in doubt, and it hasn't been in doubt for quite a while. Okay,
this is true.
I mean, just to be realistic,
even all admit that tonight.
Right. But what he does want to see, one, and this will happen with the coach, because the officials, their head can get taken out of the game as well. It's a blowout, and now guys all of a sudden aren't being real sharp. You're seeing officials huddles there. And what he's saying is, guys, I'm trying to understand. First of all, what was the call? Because I don't know what this call is when you hold your hand straight out. Okay.
I don't either. It's like maybe drying the underarms. I don't know. On a humid evening. But at any rate, it'll be 1st and 10 at the 40-yard line of the Cougars for the Mustangs, who have a big 52-21 lead, as the ball is handed off and all the way down to the 30-yard line. And look out for the yard marker, as DeBroff ran the ball after the ball was taken by Taylor Morrow, now at quarterback. Wonder if that's the coach's kid.
Well, those guys who work the sidelines, Lou, they're taught when the play starts coming towards you, man, you drop that marker and you get, you get out the way is
That's
what
it.
you do.
So now we have another penalty against the Cougars, with 3:44 left to go in the fourth quarter. As it'll be 1st and 10 inside the 15-yard line to the 14.
Mira Costa now having changed quarterbacks. The play call in by Mira Costa will be real interesting here. Okay, they've changed quarterbacks, running backs, so they're keeping it on the ground. And this is what happens. We talked about it earlier, and the same thing would happen a couple other schools I know. What you got now are a lot of JV players out there and varsity bench guys. They've changed the quarterback. They've changed the running back. Wolf Graham is out. Ryan Oliver is now running a running back, and like I said, Taylor Morrow, who, for lack of any other information, we will assume is the coach's son.
That's right, and we won't tell what assume means if you break it down.
Well, if he's not his son, it's probably his nephew. One thing we're
be.
probably pretty sure of, he's not his brother.
There, as Morrow gets hammered, and the ball is taken away by Jordan. And Jordan gets to the 50-yard line. He just said, hey, Mr. Morrow, give me that ball, and let's go dancing. So a big turnover by the Cougars gets it to the 50-yard line. And that was something else by Chris Jordan.
And you got to give Morrow some credit, though, because Morrow realized that was 6 points that was going in the books against him on that play. And so the kid is holding on.
He just got pickpocketed right at the 40-yard line. But the thing is that he's got to make the tackle because he's got to go home with Dad.
Yeah, and old Bobby Lee's in there. Bobby Lee's trying to get him separated. I mean, he's like a boxing referee. You know, I mean, you got the two guys that are in clenches, and Bobby Lee is in there for the Cougars, trying to separate them because he also knows that that's a Cougar touchdown if he can get them apart. But Morrow, to his credit, hung on.
Well, it's turned into a comedy of errors now with 3:02 left to go. 52-21. Mira Costa leading Hawthorne. And now after the offside against Mira Costa, it'll be 1st and 5 for the Cougars.
And what happens in a situation like this, you got to believe that, first of all, especially on the Hawthorne sideline, even for the fans, you kind of just want to get the game over with.
Alex Gaines with the touchdown throw to Glenn Bernard. Touchdown Cougars.
So,
a 45-yard strike. Let's check. No yellow laundry. It is a touchdown for Alex Gaines to Glenn Bernard. Their 3rd hookup of the night.
Their 3rd hookup of the night. Somebody has to tell Glenn Bernard, though, that was against the JV and not the varsity.
It still counts on the scoreboard. Number 22 is not on our varsity list, but that's okay. He's still got.
That's what I told you, Lou. They're JV players, man. These guys.
That's okay. Well, it still counts. They'll take it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
They're not going to throw it back.
No, you don't throw it back.
Unless it's little bitty.
Now, if you catch a 15-pound bass, you take it home, put it in the pan.
That's right. And Ricky Reyes, Mr.
When that
Automatic,
bass comes out the water, that's the last water he'll ever see in his life.
52-28. Excuse me?
I said, it's just like if you catch a 15-pound bass. When he comes out the water, that's the last water he'll ever see.
That's right. Next, it'll be the fry pan.
There you go.
52-28 is the score after the extra point in the 4th quarter. 2:54 left to go. So that one took all of 10 seconds on the drive and 2 plays. So 3 touchdown passes by Alex Gaines, 3 touchdown catches by Glenn Bernard. And
I think for better or for worse, I mean, folks may think it strange. You got 2:54 left. If you're Reyes, you may as well practice your onside kick. Be honest with you. The final margin, some days the way you got to look at it, and the way a lot of athletes do look at it is that a blowout loss is better than a 1-point loss. I mean, the 1-point loss hangs with you emotionally for a while. If I'm them, I practice my onside kick so that somewhere when it does matter, we're at least ready for it. Last time Reyes tried it, he sailed it out of bounds.
That's right. You have a soda at home, and then you wake up in the morning, have those sugar-frosted whatever for breakfast, and maybe you're there reading your mind again. Here comes the onside kick.
There it is. It takes the hop.
Gotten by Johnson at the 45-yard line.
That's what I told you, Lou. You work on it. You go ahead. You got nothing to lose.
You know, I was thinking to myself, you are crazier than a loon.
Well,
but now,
again, remember what, and fans, this is serious. We as Coach H said, you play the first 5 to get to the last 5. And I explained it to you earlier, and one more quick explanation is that these are non-conference games. Who goes to the playoffs is determined solely by your league record. Okay. So you can go 0 for 5 in non-league play and go 4-1 or 3-2, as some teams have done, and make the playoffs.
So it's at the 45-yard line. Gaines fakes the handoff. Now throws downfield. Does he have a man open? Yes! Yeah, caught! Yeah. Touchdown Cougars!
Cougars score another one.
Xavier Jackson on the receiving end. A 45-yard strike, back-to-back by Gaines. But let's check the flag. It's right at the line of scrimmage with 2:45 left to go. Holding against Hawthorne. So that's the second touchdown called back by a penalty on Hawthorne tonight. But wide open was Alex Gaines, or was Xavier Jackson.
As we watch a replay here, first of all, they faked the handoff for the run. And now you got him rolling out. And there you see the hole right there in that scrum that you saw on the left side of the screen. Good looking pass there. As it got behind the defense, but it was all for naught.
Well, let's see what's going to be uncorked with first down and 15. Gaines back to pass, has good protection.
They decide to try to run the same play again. This time Gaines goes short, doesn't go for the long ball, throws it over the middle and misses his intended receiver.
Yep, Xavier Jackson and Glenn Bernard were both in the neighborhood, and Bernard went up for it and went in and out of his hands. So it'll be second down and 15, 2:37 left to go. Cougars trailing the Mustangs 52-28. Two receivers to the right side of Gaines. Comes to the right side, is chased out of the pocket. We have another penalty flag. Here comes Gaines back to the original line of scrimmage, and is tackled after about a 4-yard gain. But let's see what this penalty flag is. Usually in the neighborhood of holding.
And that's the call from our referee, David Baden. As you can see, yellow flags all over the field.
So the Cougars are going backwards a long ways on this one, all the way back to the 35-yard line.
So they've gone from a touchdown to now being taken off the board to it is second and 10, 20, almost 29 yards.
Gaines rolls out after the play action. He'll swing it out to Taj Johnson, who runs into his own blocker, and look out. He's drugged down at the 30-yard line, a loss of 6. So the pass is complete, though, for -6 yards.
So to give you an idea of what the Cougars have to accomplish, fans, they are at their own 30. They've got to get to the 35 of Mira Costa. So that's 30 and 20 to the 50, and then 15 more to the 35.
About 35 yards.
That's 35 yards. And with this crew of guys, I think I'd get 36 just to be sure. All right.
Okay, here we go. Out of the eye. Johnson and Olase are behind. Gaines. Gaines on the reverse gives it to Jordan. Jordan has some blockers
well, he's
on
not
the
gonna
far
get 35
side.
on
You
that.
never know. Here he comes to the 50, to the 40, to the 35. It's a first down, Cougars. Let's check to see if there are any flags. No, there aren't. It's a 37-yard gain.
Well, I'll be darned. I'll eat my sandwich.
Wait a minute, that was
since I
mine.
was wrong. Well, I got to eat something since I was wrong.
That's true, you do. I can give you another lozenge. But no,
You know,
a terrific play by
or
Jordan.
something, but you're right, God. That was a 36-yard run, Lou.
That's what you called, right?
That's what I call.
There he goes. And you being the ever optimist said he was going to be down somewhere out of midfield.
How often do you see a guy pick it up on 3rd and 36, though?
You know, in high school, more than you think. As Gaines swings it out to Johnson, who has a blocker in front of him, and gets about 5 yards on the play. So the little misdirection, Gaines getting his play.
Looks like Johnston slipped on the play, actually, rather than being down by contact. As he turned the corner, lost his footing. At least that's what it appeared from up here, and went down.
Well, they only give 3 yards on the play, on the pass play from Gaines to Johnson. Olase and Johnson are the backs behind Gaines. Now we have some movement, and it's going to go back 5 yards. So just tightening up the screws on the old offense, on the cadence, seems to be something they'll be working on.
Well, you would think. I think the other thing, man, these guys, this crew must be getting paid by the hour. There comes a
So I had passed my bedtime. I don't know about you.
point in time when you...
Now they let the clock roll with 20 seconds left. And they'll go for the end zone one more time. Let's see if the Cougars can get it off. 10 seconds left. Gaines out of the shotgun. They'll get this play off, and that'll be it. Gaines has it, throws it across his body towards the end zone, tipped up, and it's intercepted at the 5-yard line by Mira Costa. DeSaro is out of bounds, and that's the ball game. 52-28 is the final score as the Mustangs defeat the Cougars in this non-league game, as Hawthorne falls to 1-3, and the Mustangs improve to 4-0. But the big thought of this one is, how is Lynn Featherstone? And our thoughts with him is there's Taj Johnson with another big-hearted game for that young man.
Exactly, Lou, and I think you're right. When it's all said and done at the end of the day, as the two teams go through the post-game ritual of shaking hands, which is a very worthy one. First of all, it reinforces that at the end of the day, it is all about good sportsmanship here, and that's what you want to see. A disappointing loss for the Cougars. Obviously, in this interleague contest, the Cougars of the Ocean League, Mira Costa being in the Bay League with Lusinger and some other teams. But as you say, the story undoubtedly for them was the injury to Featherstone. We all feel good about the fact that we saw him leave the field clearly with control and of his extremities and so forth. So it looks like he's going to be okay. A stinger, a neck sprain, something like that. Obviously, we'll get you more information, and certainly when we report next week, we'll have something to say.
That's right.
Having said all that, you got to give this Mira Costa football team, this Mustang football team, a whole lot of credit as well. Because long before the Featherstone injury, quite frankly, they had, at that stage before his injury, a 52-21 lead, if I'm not mistaken, or something thereabouts, where they had full control of the football game. 39-21, wherever it was, they had taken control of the game, and they played well. The spread offense, and we talked about that, man, they kept the Cougar defense off balance all night. You got Romero, you got Wolfgram, you got the big receivers. They've got the whole package.
And there you see the big linemen,
Yeah.
too.
And
I was just going to mention that. Not only did the Mustangs come in here and do it with the spread offense, they literally ran over the Cougars and really gave them a physical beating tonight.
They certainly did. The final score is one of those situations where the final is 52-28, but it's not as close as the score would indicate.
Certainly wasn't, especially if not for Alex Gaines and his 3 touchdown passes to his buddy Glenn Bernard, and also one of those called back. But one good bright spot, a little bit rusty on his comeback, Xavier Jackson coming back into the ball game, had a couple of plays at quarterback, mostly at the running back position. Even had a touchdown catch, but that was called back, and played a little defense and some special teams. So it was good to see the X-Man back on the field.
Well, I think the Cougars, obviously, the question is, where do they go from here? They go back to practice on Monday morning, Monday afternoon, I should say. They'll probably have a film session tomorrow, and they've got to get ready next Friday to play Palos Verdes Peninsula, which also is no easy task.
No.
The Panthers of Palos Verdes Peninsula, a tough opponent to go up against any time. Then after that, they get in the league play against the likes of Beverly Hills, Culver City, Inglewood, Morningside, and Santa Monica. So even though this loss drops them to 1-3, as I said, it has no impact on their playoff possibilities, and they did see some good things happen. And I think that that's what's going to be key for the players and their fans and the coaches is to look and see what were the good things. And people say, well, Rufus, what was a good thing in a 50, when you lose by 24? Well, one of them was that actually they contained Wolf Graham very well all night. Here you've got a kid who's an all-league running back, and this defense did a very good job, and perhaps they focused on Wolf Graham so much that allowed Romero and those big receivers to get untracked, because let's face it, in some of their previous games, that offense has been held in check by some other teams who were able to play both the run and the pass equally, as well as evidenced by their game against Mira Costa, not Mira Costa, but Esperanza, and their game against North as well as against Narbonne. So, but having said that, it was a good game and a good win for him.
That's right. As Wolf Graham had 15 carries, 68 yards, so they did contain him very well. Well, Rufus, why don't we take a timeout, and by that time, Charity Bailey will have made her own open field tackle on our player of the game and Coach H. When we come back, the final score of this one, Mira Costa 52-28 over Hawthorne. Back at Halcap Field inside of the campus of Hawthorne High School, along with Rufus Washington in the booth, I'm Lou Stowers. Charity Bailey down in the field, and she has Coach H of the Cougars. Charity?
All right, guys, thanks. I'm down here with Coach Hawthorne. Coach, tell me, there was penalties, fumbles, holding calls. How do you take all of this and regroup for next week?
Well, we have to go back. Like I told you before the game, we had a perfect game, but we didn't. We had 7 turnovers. We had 5 in the first half. A couple times we gave up the ball on the 10-yard line. It's easy to score touchdowns when you're on the 10-yard line. So we just have to go back to basics again, go back to tackling, make some smart plays offensively. Don't give them that short field. And, eliminate the penalties, eliminate those mistakes. And hopefully we can do that next week against Peninsula and get ready for them. And after that, league starts, and that's when the real season begins.
Okay, now you had some good things going for you tonight. Chris Jordan is back. Xavier Jackson is back. And all of those things were good for you. So how do you go back next week in practice and capitalize on the good things that happened here tonight? We
had a lot of positives happening. The boys didn't give up. They played right to the end there. The scoreboard doesn't reflect. We had 3 touchdowns called back, 52-49. It makes the game a lot different. So, we just have to eliminate those mistakes. Chris coming back, he could be a huge asset for us come league. And Xavier played a little bit more than I wanted him to, but he was able to play through. He played really well, and just got to get him back into game shape and get him ready for league.
Okay, and do you plan on putting Xavier back at quarterback so that it frees Alex back up to run?
Coaches and I will talk about that on Monday. We'll keep things interesting for everyone.
All right, it's been interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, next week versus Peninsula. Back up to you.
Well, I wonder if before Coach H goes away, if Charity can ask Coach H how Lynn Featherstone is, if we have an update on that. So that's what I would like to know, if Coach has that. This broadcast is made possible in part by Holiday Inn Express and Suites, and also by
the South Bay Workforce Investment Board, the people who help you find jobs.
Boy, do we
Write
love
my name
that.
down, somebody over there, just in case I have to stop by, so you know who I am.
Or at least take him to lunch. And Charity does have an update for us. Let's go back down.
All right, guys, just a brief update on Featherstone. The trainers are not allowed by law to tell us exactly what's wrong with him because they can't diagnose him down here on the field. However, Hawthorne paramedic did come and get him. I caught up with his mother. She says she's not sure what's wrong with her baby. So she's gone on to the hospital with him to figure out exactly what's wrong. As I said earlier during the game, he is moving his legs, he's moving his lower half and his hands and fingers. As he was walking off of the field, he did the signal that him and his teammates have going, which is the X. So he is doing okay. It's just that he has a neck injury. They're saying that it shouldn't be fatal and that there shouldn't be any paralysis due to all the movement that he is exhibiting. So we will get an update later on this week from Coach H, perhaps on Wednesday, and we'll keep you updated as the situation goes on. Back up to you.
All right, thank you, Charity. Just want to make something perfectly clear that Lynn Featherstone was did not go off into the ambulance in his own power. He was lifted up onto a gurney because they're very careful about those neck injuries. And those Hawthorne paramedics, anybody trained by L.A. County, they are the absolute best at taking care of people with any type of injury or trauma, and our hats go off to them as their 3,000 of their comrades are out now fighting on the fire lines and also helping out down on the Gulf Coast as well. So they're spread pretty thin and doing the thing that they do best and make everybody safer and sounder here. So our hats off to the Hawthorne paramedics.
Absolutely. Also, let's say Lynn went off kicking in terms
Very
of
much alive,
and so forth. So I think we're going to see him around, and he's also the Holiday Inn Express Player of the Game for the Hawthorne Cougars. And if all goes well, we fully expect to see Lynn back out here on the field in competition sometime before the season is over, and hopefully before not too long. Obviously,
I need to see his smile and his attitude next time we do a game. So I'll be looking forward to that.
He was there playing, so it was fun. It was fun, and we know that his family and friends are all thinking well about him, and at least we can all take comfort in what would appear that he's going to be okay.
Well, we closed the books on this game as the Hawthorne Cougars fall to the Mira Costa Mustangs 52-28. And as usual, Rufus, it was a hot time in the old town, not only figuratively tonight, but literally.
Well, it certainly was, fans. It was up around 100, but we've got next week. Next week, we go over to Lawndale, home of the Olympians, as the Linwood football team comes to town. So we know that you'll join us, as you always do.
Well, thanks a lot to Charity Bailey down on the field, Rufus Washington joining me, and Tom Strickfaden putting everything together. He is the glue and especially the mayonnaise in our sandwich that is the Lawndale Hawthorne Community Cable Television Channel 22 Sports Game of the Week. So until next week at Lawndale High School when they welcome in Linwood, this is Lou Stowers for the crew saying the final score once again, Mira Costa 52, Hawthorne 28. Until next week, so long.
Good night, everybody.
The preceding presentation of this Channel 22 Sports Game of the Week was brought to you in part by a generous donation from the Holiday Inn Express Hotel and Suites, South Bay. The Holiday Inn Express is partnering with Channel 22 Sports to help promote our young people in sports competition and academics so that everyone in our community wins. The Holiday Inn Express Hotel and Suites. Stay smart. The preceding presentation of this Channel 22 Sports Game of the Week was brought to you in part by a generous donation from the South Bay Workforce Investment Board. The South Bay Workforce Investment Board is working together with Channel 22 Sports to promote an environment where everyone can maximize their career potential and so that all employers have the human resources they need to grow and prosper. The South Bay Workforce Investment Board. When you need us, we are there for you.